All right, thank you, Taylor. Yeah, what we're going to do is, I'm hearing we're going to, that is a new severe thunderstorm warning before we go, guys in the booth right here. This is for Macon County right here. That is heading in toward the Marshallville area. So we're just getting started, and no doubt we're going to see a string of these warnings coming across as we go through the next handful of hours here. At least severe thunderstorm warnings, maybe an embedded tornado warning from time to time. What we're going to do is we're going to kick you back over to CBS coverage, but we are going to remain live online and on all of our streaming platforms, okay? So guys in the booth, I mean, that's what I'm hearing correctly, right? So anywhere that we would normally be streaming, Facebook, YouTube, app, website, all that stuff, we're still going. And if we start seeing some of these tornado warnings, we're going to jump back on. So you may see us kind of go back and forth a little bit, but we'll continue live there, and we'll join you there in a second. Okay, for those who are still watching us on the stream, we are still live with a pair of severe thunderstorm warnings right now. And this goes for Upson County. There's a new ding coming out. Let's see what that is. I think it's just a repeat of that one. Severe thunderstorm warning, Macon, Taylor County till 3:15. 3/4 inch hail possible, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that one is moving east at 65. That can't be right. No, it is. Moving east at 65 miles per hour, the storm. Wow, so that one has some giddy up on it there. That is the one. So this is going to be quick moving stuff that comes through. So obviously severe if the actual movement of the storm is 65 miles per hour. So if you're in Macon County here, again, I don't see tornado stuff with this, but some straight line winds coming through as we go through. This one goes until 3:15, so that's another 45 minutes with that one. This goes until 3 for this line right here. And again, the only rotation we had seen at times was this part kind of heading toward Butler. Well, here comes, there it is, a new tornado warning. And that is for Taylor County now. So we do have an official tornado warning for Taylor County heading into the core of our viewing area here. This next stop would be heading on into Crawford County if need be. Let's see here. Let's go on into, okay. And that is really showing up brightly now. So yep, need to go back to main air. That is really showing up on the radar here. Let me go in and query this one. Gate to gate shear at 76. Gate to gate 117 miles per hour. So this could be a dangerous situation right here. If you're in the Taylor County area, this is Butler right here. So this is training toward the northeast. It may kind of go above town, but if you're in the Butler area, you need to get down to the lowest level and centermost room of your house as this is coming on in. This one is really showing up. Taylor, keep an eye on CC if you can too. Okay, blue. All right, guys, we're back on TV again because we have what could be a dangerous tornado situation here in Taylor County. Here's Butler. This was just issued a moment ago. Gate-to-gate shear of 117 miles per hour. This is the Taylor County line. So crossing over, kind of moving toward the northeast here. So if you're in Butler, anywhere in Taylor County, just do what you practice to do. Just get in that centermost room, lowest level of your house. And let's just ride this out. It's moving at a pretty good clip. I believe Taylor last check was northeast at around 50. And
right.
We've seen some movement with these storms even faster than that. There's another severe thunderstorm warning that is in Macon County, and that one is moving at 65 miles per hour. So everything really getting busy now on the wall here. So I'm going to take you back in just a second, but this by far is what we're most concerned about. Here's the big picture. And again, if you follow the kind of track of that, where this would end up going, if it holds like it is, and there has been wording of maybe some kind of longer track tornadoes that could last a little longer. Having said that, sometimes in this kind of environment, they'll lose their spin after a little bit and then flare back up again. We're watching the movement is toward the northeast at 65. That's with this stuff right here. So getting really busy here. Severe thunderstorm warning all the way up through Upson County. So what we need to do now is just over the next few hours, consider yourself pretty much in a severe warning of some type until all of this moves through. It looks like the whole line is going to remain at least with a severe thunderstorm warning, and we'll see if there are pockets of tornadic stuff. Let me go back in and see with the rotation here again. Wow, that is really showing up there. Let's see. All right, I still think that anywhere in the Butler area, again, we're going to have to go ahead and do our tornado plan, what you plan to do, whatever that centermost room of the house is with your family. You can see as it's coming across, the color table is kind of changing on us right here, but the idea is there that there is rotation in there. Let's see if we get, I want to see if the wording. All right, tornado debris signature now on the Taylor County storm. Let me take a look at it on this. Yeah, all right, so we are seeing some debris lofted with this back crossing over into Taylor County with that. So again, I have you on a scan that's back a little bit, but I can go toward the more recent scan. Taylor, what you got?
Hey, Ben. So, hey, everyone. So basically what the Weather Service just said is that this is an observed tornado that is a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado. And it was located west near Howard. Their Butler moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So again, when they say stuff like confirmed, large, extremely dangerous, everybody who is in this tornado warning, that's for Butler and Reynolds, you need to be, like Ben said, in your safe space. That is the lowest levels of your house. If that's a basement, if that's a storm shelter, if you have any other place to go, please make sure you have that. A bathtub would suffice as well. But for that, you need to know that this is, again, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado. They usually don't use that wording often. So make sure that you are doing the best that you can. But for everybody, this is a reminder for everybody that we are still, regardless of this one tornado, in a tornado watch for all of central Georgia until 7 p.m. Stuff like this, like Ben said, can happen over and over again with this time of line of storms, of spin up storms. But again, this is an extremely dangerous and large tornado there for Taylor County, and that is until 3 p.m.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. Yeah, so some of those words you don't hear very often in there. So that means definitely if you're used to like a brief spin up type wording in there, it's a little bit something more than that. So this is Taylor County. You can see the polygon spreads out toward the northeast. So let's go ahead and think about it, Crawford County, eventually Bibb here in a little bit if that holds together. I know there's a lot of stuff on the map here. This is a giant tornado watch box. Here's a severe thunderstorm warning in yellow for Thomaston down through Butler. But of course, obviously the tornado warning is the main problem. As you get on down into Sumter and Macon counties, severe thunderstorm warning with this section through here. And that is moving toward the east at 65 miles per hour. So this stuff has some giddy up on it as it comes across. And also keep in mind, now we've had rain from kind of Macon northward especially. Since early this morning, so it's kind of worked the atmosphere over. However, there's still enough energy in here to keep this stuff going, mainly from about where my hand is down. I mean, maybe a little higher than this, but all of this down here has been untouched. So if you're in our southern counties heading toward Albany, it is much warmer there, instability is up, and also there hasn't been rain to kind of work the atmosphere over. So this is an area that is also kind of, you know, vulnerable for these kind of storms to develop. This is the only one that we see rotating as of now, and I'm going to go on and look and see about the velocity again. We're kind of stuck in between our radar. I can get it if I look at it from Peachtree City's radar. I'm trying to see it from different vantage points, and as it gets closer in, we'll be able to see it a little bit better. All right, so let's go in and we're going to do some street spotting. I didn't really want to jump to that radar. That's the problem. You move around and it jumps to the next one. I'm going to turn the warning layer off for just a second. We know there's a warning there. And this way we can ask it some questions and Going to get some funky readings in here. I know earlier we were seeing gate-to-gate shear at over 100 miles per hour. And if I back it up, you can see some of that. So again, at this point in that area, kind of in between, a really good look, because as the radar shoots out, the curvature of the earth goes over and you're looking higher up into the storm. So not getting a really clear look at it. But let's just say that this is still one way or the other. This is the warned area. So we can do some street spotting in here. This is extreme western Taylor County for right now. Rural area, but as we come on in, we can see Black Creek Trail, Trussell Lane, Henry Currington Road, Parks Road. There's a new scan. Let's move on over and catch up with it here. All right, so again, been between radars. This is on our radar, Jeffersonville. Let's go back. Still showing some rotation in there. Again, if you're in the Butler area, Butler and even north, again, all the things we talk about, all the safety things that you hopefully have rehearsed and know where to be in the event of this. Now, again, this is one of those kind of afternoons with some of these systems where hopefully this doesn't stay on the ground for a very long time. We're definitely not trying to panic anyone this afternoon into thinking this thing is just going to rip all the way across here. Hopefully it will pull itself back up at some point, but for right now, that is not the case. As rotation is going on in it. Again, everybody else, if you're watching, because I know that at times like this we would start getting what I call the but what abouts. What about me here? What about this place, this place, this place? Right now, everything else that we're seeing out there is just rain and thunderstorms. This stuff is what we're concerned most with, and this is what we've been waiting on throughout the day, is for this part of the line to get on in. So as this comes through, eventually Roberta, Macon area, Fort Valley, all these areas over the next couple of hours, and then it'll continue off toward the east. So in other words, it was looking like on the models yesterday kind of a noon start. Obviously we got the rain in earlier, and that may have helped some of our northern half kind of turn the atmosphere over, but as you get Macon southward, that's where things are a little bit more powder keggish out there this afternoon. So let's do a track. We said this was moving kind of at the north to the northeast at around 45, I do believe, 45 to 50. So you can see some of the places in the path. Let's see, it's coming up on 240. That's 3 area. Fickling Mill, obviously Butler coming up soon, or at least the northern part of town. We'll see if it comes across a little more this way or does it angle up this way. And again, keep following along where this could eventually go if it holds together with this kind of rotation. Now, most of these storms over the past few hours we've been watching them have just, they have been severe spin in there here or there, but it's just recently that it started to kind of blow back up again. All right, so here is the big picture coming your way. Just so everybody can get their bearings again here. You can see all the storms we had this morning made their way through Augusta into South Carolina now. And again, it is from here down mainly that is the spot to be watching here. You can see it goes all the way down into Dothan here, eventually heading into the Albany area. So this is kind of the main corridor to see severe weather or anything tornadic this afternoon. And again, we're in that level 3, so we're elevated up. Usually we're kind of in a 1 or a 2, so we're kind of up above that this afternoon. So a little more dangerous than some of our normal threats, I guess we'd say, that we usually see. And again, a lot of our systems recently have been coming in the middle of the night or in the early morning hours when we didn't have the heat of the day. So for instance, let's see. You can see some of the numbers out there. It's 58 in Forsyth, then it jumps into the 60s here, and then you've got behind my podium here, you're looking at 70 in Eastman, 75 in McRae, some low 70s in our southern counties here. So warmer, more unstable air as you go farther toward the south here. So there's the top of that severe thunderstorm warning. I know it's hard to see yellow on yellow, but that's for Upson County. If all of this moves east, then the next thing we'll see is Monroe County, Crawford, Peach County, and Macon County is already under a severe thunderstorm warning. And then and hopefully this will fizzle down and take the tornado thing out. Taylor, yes?
So the Weather Service, they were saying exactly kind of where this circulation would be, and they confirmed that it would be just crossing over Highway 54. So if you live west of Butler in Mizell, or if you live right here on Highway 54, this is where the tornado would be. So if you're anywhere from Jarrell and you're on along Highway 19 going towards Fickling Mill, this is going for you. So make sure that you are in your tornado safe space regardless, because even though thankfully it has been showing signs of weakening, a very dangerous situation. So the lowest level of your house or building would be the best option, but people who live north of Butler, that's where that circulation is seeming to track.
Yeah, seeing right there. Yeah. As they're saying from Peachtree City. Thanks, Taylor. There's also, they put out an MD, but I click on it. It's too early to open yet. Yeah, so, but if you happen, all right, if you happen to see what that is, definitely holler over here. Let's see. Let's go back into our velocity mode and see how things are looking. Let's go with this one. Okay. Yes, we did that just a moment ago. We'll do it again. Here is a look at Highway 540 right there. So let's get on in a rural area here, but I'm trying to get you some roads. Looks like is that a new scan that's just come in? Let me back up. Yeah. The newest scan does broaden it out, Taylor, which is good news that you were just talking about. So hopefully that will continue we want to see it spread back out, broaden back out, and not do that tornado thing. So let's go on in. We'll kind of do some street level best we can. There's Butler at the bottom right of your screen right behind me here. So this is going to be crossing over 540 where everything comes together. The best way to tell you is if you're in Butler, you should be in that safe spot. No question about that. If you're north of town as well, the farther south you go, you're not so much in the rotation. But all up and down this is still severe thunderstorm warning territory. So there's still going to be gusty winds whether or not it's rotating. Try to go in a little bit more. The problem when you get in this level at street spotting is we don't have specific rotation now. It's not tight, which is not a problem. It's a great thing. But this gives you an idea. Phelps Road, Prescott Drive, McCall, any of these places sound familiar to you on the west side of Butler heading toward the north side of town. There is Butler right there. Let's see.
It lost its signature a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's good news. It depends on which one. Yeah. You jump over to FFC, it really shows up on that one, but on this one, on our radar, as it's getting closer, which we're going to start relying more on ours now that this stuff is moving in, it is broadening out. So that is really good news and hopefully a trend that continues. Unfortunately, in these QLCS type systems here, they will play with you all day long because they come across and they'll have a little spin for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you'll look and it's just bam, it's just gone like that, which is great. But sometimes you'll see it pop back up again, or maybe it'll show up somewhere else. You know, we still have to keep an eye on little spots like this to see if that happens again. So we're still on track to do what the models were showing, which is for this to be coming through over the next few hours. I still think it's going to be about 6 o'clock before it is clear of the central Georgia area to really get this on through. So there is that severe thunderstorm warning showing up again for Macon County. Just again to tell you that the movement earlier of this part of the line was moving at 65 miles per hour toward the east-northeast here. So let's check in the chat. Continuing severe thunderstorm warning for Macon County and Taylor until 3:15. Not seeing debris signature. Is that what you were going to, Taylor, did you need? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
we were talking about that mesoscale discussion about whether the Weather Prediction Center was seeing something that we weren't really picking up. And so in terms of just any other impacts besides tornadoes, we actually have had a lot of heavy rainfall. So here's a rainfall graphic. And what they have outlined is that places that are basically in the Central Savannah River area, the CSRA, you're going to see some of that more. So Sparta down to Sandersville and Wrightsville, the possibility for flash flooding as that system really moves through and keeps training or just going over certain areas. So on this graphic, you can see where places like Lake Oconee, Eatonton, Sparta, Warrington have seen some of those heavier downpours. Just southeast of Bleckley County. We're already seeing 3.5 inches in the past 3 hours. So that's a lot of rain over the same exact spot. So another concern, of course, is flash flooding, and that's possible anywhere, places that are west of Augusta and the Savannah River. So something to keep in mind from the Weather Prediction Center.
Yeah, important stuff there. You're right. There's so many facets of all this that's going on, and we have all the rain. Not to mention, if you've been following things since yesterday, round 2 tomorrow, and we were in a level 2 with a level 3 in Atlanta. We've now been bumped into another level 3 again tomorrow. So, this is the way it plays out sometimes, especially this time of year. That at this point, it looks like tomorrow maybe more just kind of scattered stuff, severe thunderstorm type stuff, but we can't rule out this kind of tornadic stuff. But right now, this is where the majority of that threat is for today. So we'll figure out tomorrow once we get through all this stuff today. But once you put all these two in, the rainfall amounts over the couple of days will be pretty stout. If you're in Crawford County, again, there's no rotation tightly noticed in Taylor County right now. But if you're in Roberta, any of these places, and eventually the Macon area here, getting into Bibb, if this continues kind of on this track like this, that we want to kind of think ahead about where you would be in the event of that. Also, too, we talked about it in our Facebook Live last night. People asking about schools. A lot of times we're in a new world where schools will close and cancel for different things. Looks like the circulation just tightened back up a little bit there. Getting on time for school to be getting out in a little bit might not be a bad idea in some of these places, just to hold the kids in place. If you're in the track of this, and don't try to do carpool bus stuff, getting out on the road and everything. And I'm looking on up the line here, thinking about this, just in case we are dealing with what this was looking like a little bit earlier and still could become again. The last thing you want is to be exchanging students out there and then trying to get on the road and all that stuff, and when they're safer in the building where they are, where they have practiced these things. So Taylor County, again, if you look at it as far as the rotation, it's somewhat tighter than it was just on that last scan. It's not as broad. And so again, you can see this sometimes start to knot back up again. It is now mainly toward the north of Butler. Still some gusty winds north of town here, but this is going to kind of run like this. So I think the next stop would be heading in toward Roberta if it holds this way together. And of course, just looking at a map, you go from Crawford, you go into Bibb County. So let's just spread things out here. Another one to watch, although it's not doing anything impressive now, is just what is down here in Macon County about to come in. Showing signs at times like it kind of wants to tighten up a little bit. But that is the main game. Now, I don't mean to leave everything else. Let me go back around the horn here, because everything else that we're seeing up and down the line. Just consider as these storms come across this afternoon that everybody's in some sort of severe thunderstorm warning. There is one now for Monroe, Bibb, Crawford, Peach County. So now we're getting into the core of our viewing area, and this stuff is moving very quickly. That's the good news. It won't take long to get on through here and get it out of our hair. As a matter of fact, it won't be long before I'll start doing some all clears. If you're in western Upson County, you're already clear. Extreme western Taylor County, things are clear there as well, clearing out anyway as far as the severe threat, and we'll keep on pushing this through. So that new severe thunderstorm warning is a long one, and it does, again, as I mentioned, Bibb, Crawford, Jones, Macon, Monroe, Peach, Taylor until 3:30, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 3/4-inch hail. Now this one does not have the tornado possible wording in there, so I sure would love for us to get that kind of wording out and stay out. So that is just so you know. Right now, what you're in, if you're in Macon, Warner Robins, Fort Valley, or Roberta, any of these places, the stuff you have now is just regular old rain. It's not here yet. It is what is on the way in the red right here. So this will be coming on across with some gusty winds, and the rain will pick up even heavier than what we're seeing now. And then again, we'll follow it on down the trail here as it goes on in toward the Albany market there. That one tornado warning, again, is for Taylor County. Next stop, if it is to be reissued again, would be for Crawford County. All right, let's see if I can get this to load. All right, so still showing, I'm trying to pick it up on our radar. If you go to the Peachtree City one, it just kind of, color table blows up on you right there. So this is Highway 19 now that comes south running into Butler. If you're familiar with all this interchange here, getting in toward the Fickling Mill community, and then you're crossing over into Crawford County in just a little while. Again, moving 45 to 50 miles per hour. So still a tornado warning for another 9 minutes. We'll see what they're going to do with it as it gets closer. Again, it's one that continues to kind of fluctuate in intensity. Thank you, Anthony. What do we have here? Taylor County EMA Director David Wyndham says, quote, they're hunkered down in Butler waiting for the storm to pass, seeing heavy rains right now and heavy winds on the west side of town, but so far no word of any damage. A bit later. David Wyndham, appreciate that. We love to hear from our emergency management folks as we go through the day. Taylor, what you got?
Okay, so one thing that we really keep in track of is velocity, and sometimes we keep up with wind shear, and wind shear is really just the winds changing with height as they go up in the atmosphere. And if we take a look at this graphic, you can kind of see where that wind shear has been picking up. Definitely more on the weaker side, just north of Butler, but that is where that tornado warning is currently. So if we keep seeing more wind shear like that, that's just showing more rotation within these storms. Now this newest scan picking up on some of that rotation, moving just north of Butler, heading towards the Crawford County line. And if you lined it up just with the tornado warning, you can see it's exactly on point where that rotation would be. Like Ben said, it's tightening and untightening, and we'll get that with this kind of line of storms.
Yeah, good point, Taylor. As we look at it again here, it is kind of back to showing the couplet again. Let's do some checking in, turn the warning layer off, and we will inquire in some of these pixels here. Still showing some gate-to-gate shear in there. So again, the closer this comes on into our area, the closer it gets to that Jeffersonville radar, the better shot we have at seeing it, because it's still a little bit out there. Again, as the earth curves, even on a distance that short, we're starting to, it's a straight signal and we're shooting up into the storm. So let's see, back to warning layer time here. Everything else that's out there is rain. Yeah, we're hearing the thunder here in the Macon area too, but that's just thunderstorm stuff that's out in front of the main show, which is back here. And you can see, even follow this cell, and you can see it, even just the whole thing is just kind of spinning within the line there, which is the way Future View was showing it today. It was going to have these little kinks in there, straight line winds with most of it, but occasionally you would see something kind of rotate and spin in there. Let's go back down to, again, if you're in Macon County, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. And on the big picture, you can see it goes all the way down into the panhandle of Florida. So again, as we go through this afternoon, unless just some fluke, like it falls apart in one spot, you're at least assured to have a severe thunderstorm warning as this comes through. So already think about it when you're thinking about, yeah, but what about my area, my area, my area? Everybody's probably at least going to get a severe thunderstorm warning out of this as it comes across. It just becomes a question then, is there going to be something that's rotating somewhere in there? And right now we have the one, and you can see they've trimmed that polygon back now. So let's go in and take a look. It is that tornado warning for Taylor County, which goes again until 3. And there's only a piece of it left there before the next decision is made.
Yeah, they just continued it.
Did they drop it? No,
they continued it.
Oh, they continued it. Okay, until 3. Then they trimmed off the western part of Taylor County right there. So it's decision time for Peachtree City as to whether or not to extend this to a new tornado warning that would go on into Crawford, possibly parts of Bibb County. So we'll see where this goes. Again, fluctuating rotation in there from time to time. But again, the whole line is at least a severe thunderstorm warning with 60-mile-per-hour winds possible. So good bet you will have something that says the word severe on it when it's coming through. It's whether or not the tornado word is mentioned in there. That's the one we really don't want. And we can still see things kind of knotted up there. This is street level again, Wainwright Road. Here's 137. Already made it over 19 as it's getting closer and closer toward Crawford County. So again, that warning goes for another 5 minutes, and then we'll see what happens with that. Zooming back out. It's almost to a little bit east-northeast on some of this, and let's say it were, a 50, I think we said 45 to 50 mile per hour movement. This is the cone, obviously gets wider as you go out, as it gets a little more uncertain as far as, taking into all the possibilities of where this thing could go. You can see Roberta as we get into the next 15 minutes or so. Taylor's Mill. This is South Bibb right here. So anywhere from maybe Lizella on down, kind of eventually places like, down 75 Byron, stuff like that, if it holds going through this area. So again, nothing to panic about. That's for sure. And these things are not fun to go through. That's for sure. But the plan is in place. There's generally a great chance everything's just going to be fine if you'll just get in the centermost room of your house, away from windows or any glass that could break. And if you have a basement, obviously that's the spot. And I know it sounds goofy, but if you even have bike helmets, anything like that, just in case. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to have really bad damage. It's just to prepare, and it'll blow on through, and that'll be that. And maybe it's not even a tornado on the ground. Sometimes these things are aloft a little bit and they're not on the surface. But we definitely, there it is, Crawford County. Want to treat it as though it is on the ground. So they went ahead and decided to extend that tornado warning, which goes into Crawford County. The latest scan has it broadening back out again. They actually moved it a little bit farther north too. So if this continues to track in this area, it would basically cut right through the core of Macon as we go through the next 30 to 45 minutes. So just go ahead and be thinking, as I mentioned again, getting up on a time of day when some schools are on spring break, some are not. You're getting into the time of the afternoon where it's like, oh, we have carpool line and the bus and all this stuff and everything. My opinion, and then again, it's not my call, would be that building is a safe place for these kids, and that's where it has been practiced, and they've done their drills in the hallway and all that stuff, as opposed to trying to change hands out in the middle of all this stuff going through with buses and carpool and then trying to drive in this. So you may want to consider, if you're in any of these school systems along through here, holding the pattern in place, I would think, until this can kind of come on through. That's just one weatherman's opinion. So this is a little bit north, again, of the other polygon, which is down here in Taylor County. It's still got an east-northeast component, but it's a little farther up. So now the polygon kind of goes like this. So anywhere is in play eventually as we go through Crawford County, definitely Roberta. As we go through town, you're right in the center of that track there. Good news is, as I said just a moment ago, the rotation has kind of broadened out again. So it's doing this, where it'll tighten up, and it's a tornado warning, and then it kind of spreads back out. It's just windy, but it's not so concentrated. And we see that a lot in these kind of systems as they come across, and they'll kind of dance and jump on you. Taylor, what you got?
So with this storm system, we keep seeing this over and over, but thankfully these storms move so fast that they kind of canceled some of those areas. So if you look just to the west where we just had those tornado warnings, west of Macon and Taylor counties, they've dropped those counties from the tornado watch. So that's good news. So once these storms start to pass and take up all the energy we have in our atmosphere in central Georgia, then that means that some more counties should be dropped as we head throughout the day. But still, everybody in central Georgia, except for Jasper and Putnam counties, are in a tornado watch until 7 p.m. So like Ben said, everybody needs to be on alert, at least know your plans as you head throughout the rest of the day.
Yep, good stuff. And the new track that I just drew out on there shows Roberta coming up in about 10 minutes here. If it continues, this is at a 50-mile-per-hour pace. There's Sandy Point, Lizella here as we get into West Bibb, Lake Tobosoffke area. If that continues to come across like that, I anticipate this cell will at least be severe in some form. It's already established itself as kind of a rotator there as we go through, so it may be one we have to just kind of deal with off and on as it comes through. And hopefully it is more in a downtime as opposed to being, a real strong, tightly rotated thing. So, and hopefully some too, as it floats a little more toward the north. We'll see if it actually plays out that way. This is an area that's seen a lot of rain. Maybe the instability's down a little bit. Hopefully that could help it as far as like weakening down. That's what I'm hoping for with that. But for right now, it's just kind of fluctuating back and forth. So that is the latest track on it. So it's not far from crossing over into Crawford County. Actually starting to do that now. And again, that is a very broad, I wouldn't mind if it looked like that the whole way across, to be honest, because that you can deal with that a lot better. That's not anything that's super tightening up. But again, we'll keep continuing to watch it to see what it does, but still get in the safe space if you're in Crawford County, if you're in the Roberta area. Let's go on in a little bit more. And we may be able to do some street spotting here. This is getting into where the intersection of some highways here, 128, 137. So, and then crossing over So that's kind of how it is for right now. As far as anything tightening up on that, it's been a little bit since we've seen that, a couple of scans. So hopefully the trend will remain that way. And again, I'm not showing you the what we call reflectivity or the radar, because I wanted you to see where the warnings are. If I put that on there, there's so much stuff, it's hard to tell. We're in velocity mode right here. That's just showing which way the wind is moving. So what it's doing is it's taking, looking in at wind that's going away from the radar and toward the radar. So you have toward the radar, away from the radar, and that's the mode we're in. We could flip back and show you where it's raining, but you know it's raining out there. So at least severe thunderstorm warning stuff all the way up and down the line. And again, I anticipate that as this comes across, it'll continue to be like that. Just one giant severe thunderstorm warning, just to cover the bases. So even if it's not rotating, at least maybe some 60-mile-per-hour winds, and the movement of the storms themselves. I mean, they're going pretty fast. Some of these are going 50 to the Macon County one earlier was saying it was moving at 65 miles per hour toward the east there. So that, though, again, is the main thing that we're concerned. We're concerned about all of this, but clearly the one that has the tornado warning in it is the most concerned. If you have any damage photos or anything like that, obviously if you're in Crawford County or Roberta, do not go out and try to take pictures of this. But if you were in Taylor County or any of these places off toward the south and west, not only is it something to show the viewers and see that this is what happened here, but it also helps the National Weather Service as they're looking on down the line, kind of, trying to figure out what exactly happened there, because, a lot of this is radar indicated. Shows you here's where the rotation is. We may get a debris signature, which just shows where there's debris aloft, which kind of usually means there's been a touchdown and there's stuff actually in the air. But outside of that, sometimes it takes some verification on the ground with the eyes and cameras there. So if you do have anything after it has passed, so I'm talking about if you're back here in western Taylor County, any of these spots, eventually later on Crawford County, or any of the spots in our area with these severe thunderstorm warnings, you can go to the Near Me feature. It's on our app. If you don't have the 13 WMAZ app, it's in Google Play, it's in the Apple Store. Once you go get it, you can turn on notifications and things like all this. Watches and warnings will pop into your phone. And the Near Me thing is cool. You can go in there and just add your photos right there. Or if you're on our Facebook page, we have our Facebook group page, Weather Network page. You can drop them in there. And we have our whole staff in the newsroom scouring around looking at all these things, and we'll try to start pulling them in. Again, last check-in with the Taylor County EMA Director David Wyndham says that they're hunkered down in Butler and they're waiting for it to pass, which obviously it has done that now past Butler. And it was heavy rain on the west side of town. This was minutes ago, but no word of any damage at that point, so that's good news. Latest scan, even broader, so this is a trend we hope continues, which is this thing spreading out and not showing that tornado signature where we would get bright red and bright green really close together, even some yellows in there, and some of those high colors that would really show you where wind is really spinning, going in different directions to and from the radar. So that is the big picture. Here's an even bigger picture to show you the entire area again. There's the tornado watch, which goes throughout the afternoon here. Here's the severe thunderstorm warning. The top of it is about at Forsyth, and it runs all the way down the line. So this whole line here is at the very least severe, in the sense that you're going to have 60-mile-per-hour winds possible with that. But then there is the rotation at times. And we were also watching the one in Macon County from time to time. Nothing indicating that there should be a reason to pull the trigger on that one yet. But this is the one, at least for the past hour or so, that's been showing signs of wanting to rotate off and on. So if you're in the Macon area, in Bibb County, again, moving at a pretty good clip, so it won't take long to get in. The good news is it also won't take long to get out. It'll push on through here in a hurry. And once again, I mentioned again, school time coming up in just a little bit. We want to weigh that out. Do we want to try to swap kids out of a building into cars and buses at this point, when you could wait for a half hour or so, 45 minutes, and let this get on through here. Let that main threat get on through, and then make a decision. If you're farther down the line, obviously, get the kids on home and all that, but you're getting into a really populated area here where you're going to have some changeover with the kids getting out of school there. And if you have any outdoor plans, anywhere you're heading today, A, save yourself some extra time. B, if you don't have to go, probably not a good idea to be out there right now. Even if it's not a tornado threat, there's going to be a lot of wind with these storms as they come on through. And, of course, the torrential rainfall. We've already started to pile up a ton of numbers, and they're continuing to pile up. And then we have tomorrow. As I mentioned, we're in a level 3 today. We've been added to a level 3 tomorrow. And we'll tweak that as we go through tonight to see what that actually looks like. But just to show you at least more rain possible as we go through the day tomorrow. Taylor, I've been looking over at your screen over there. It doesn't look like it's tightening back up. It just wants to
Not at
keep
all.
that broad rotation, and even Macon County a little at times toward Montezuma. Been seeing some of that. That one's on yours. Yeah, so this is what Taylor's been messing with over here. You can see that. Again, heading right into Roberta. We have to treat this as though this is an active tornado warning. It is an active tornado warning, but an actual tornado. Let's treat it as though there's one on the ground, which right now I would say probably not. But this can change. We can look at the next scan, and all of a sudden, the bright red and green are right back to each other again, and we're right back to where we started from again. So, again, moving into an atmosphere that has had a lot of rain today. We still have the instability all over our area, but generally the thinking, my thinking would be that as you start to get farther toward the north and east and kind of spread away from some of this more unstable area in the south, that maybe this would be a good thing. But obviously it's still showing signs that it wants to tighten up from time to time. The one in Macon County, as we're showing you, that one kind of broad, so we're keeping an eye on that. That tornado warning for Crawford County, what was that one until? 3:30? I believe, I'm going to see if the chat said anything else.
3:30.
Well, as far as damage reports, all I'm seeing is in Cherokee County, road closed due to flooding. Outside of that, we're not seeing. Now, in Alabama earlier with some of these storms, we did see reports of like trees down, that, damage to some houses with that and everything. But again, even here with the reflectivity mode, you can see the whole part of that line spinning. So even if there's not a tornado on the ground, the rotation within it continues. So that just tells you that it could still drop down at any given moment. So that's pretty wild that even on this mode, you can still see everything spinning across here. So again, no tornado warning for Bibb County. That could change in the next few minutes as this continues east-northeast. Taylor.
So like Ben was saying earlier, we do have a tornado warning there for Crawford County, but we have what Ben calls, or we call in meteorology world, a QLCS. And so that just means a quasi-linear convective system. And so with these things, you can get spin-ups all up and down the line. So I want to take you right now to Macon County in Montezuma, where there is no tornado warning, but there is a severe thunderstorm warning. If you just see just east of Ideal, just some very broad rotation. And if you just keep going down the line, down south towards Anderson, near Americus, we're still seeing some of that rotation. Now, that could be higher up in the atmosphere just because it is a little bit farther away from the radar site. But that's just for y'all to keep in mind that these things can spin up as they move through more of a favorable environment. And what that environment will be is going to be anywhere from Montezuma to Soperton and Dublin, because especially places like Abbeville, Eastman, and McRae, where rain really hasn't touched y'all yet, and where temperatures are past the mid-70s. So when we have atmospheres that really haven't been touched by rain, they're more conducive to making stuff blow up as they roll through. So you're already seeing, especially, tornado warning. As soon as I said that, tornado warning now for Macon County.
Yeah, and that's what you were talking about. Yeah.
Just talking about that one there. Let me go back to that signature. Like I said, it was tightening. It was broad. It still is pretty broad, much broader than the one that was back in Taylor County. But still, this is a tornado warning currently now for places that are north of Montezuma. Marshallville, you are in this. Ideal, you are not. This is for Macon County only until 3:45. So something to keep in mind, and we'll see how fast it's moving. 40 miles an hour. So if we take that track and move it 40 miles an hour, and there you go. So places like Barron's
Small communities
Lane,
in there, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of communities. So by Barron's Lane, this circulation would be coming towards you. If I can get it back again, let's do it again.
It may not come back.
Yeah, I gotta redo it. For moving at 40 miles an hour. There you go. So for places like Barron's Lane, you're gonna see this kind of circulation and this storm roll through by 3:18. Winchester, 3:24. Marshallville, that's one of our bigger cities within that area. 3:27, it'll be knocking on your door. Fort Valley, you are also kind of in this area, but like Ben said earlier, the further you go out, the more uncertainty it becomes because this is confined to Macon County for now. So Fort Valley just be weather aware. But right now it is not for Peach County. Again, Barons Lane, Winchester, and Marshallville, you are all in this line for the tornado warning, and that does expire at 3:45, again, for Macon County. So something to consider. Ben, do you got anything?
Yeah, I was looking on another source here, just kind of watching as this comes across. The one in Macon County that you talked about, the problem once we get into those southwestern counties too is we are in between radars, seriously, way out there. And it's hard, I say way out there, it's not really that far, but as far as a radar is concerned, again, the curvature of the earth and it's shooting up, and so it's not looking as much at the surface. Now it's starting to look farther up because as the beam goes, the earth goes. So it's a little bit tough to see. Sometimes we'll meander around through between the radars and see if we can kind of get a better picture. This one in Crawford County is well within being able to see it with the radar behind me here in Jeffersonville. So if you're in the Macon area, again, I talked about school times and things like that. This is probably within the next 15, 20 minutes away from getting into Bibb County. Then if it stays like it is, it's going to track through West Bibb into Midtown, North Macon maybe, as this goes on east-northeast. And that one for the Macon County goes until 3:45. This one goes until 3:30. And so that is that for now. Taylor, yes?
I want to put my screen behind you if we can. Can we put max one? Perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Can you see that correlation coefficient debris?
Yeah, so this is Macon County right here, that storm. There's Marshallville right here. This is a CC where we're looking at TDS, tornado debris signature. When you see that, that lets you know it at least at some point has touched down and picked stuff up. And you can see it floating in the atmosphere right here. So that's usually a pretty good sign, whether it's on the ground now or not, at least at some point it was. And there's Montezuma. This looks to stay north of town, riding over toward Barons Lane, and eventually, as we said, toward the Marshallville area. This has, again, that kind of east-northeast component with it. What did you say, moving at 50, 40?
It said 40.
Which is weird. That storm earlier, they said the whole storm was moving at 65.
65.
Yeah.
So these are taking very different patterns in terms of how fast and slow they're moving, which is very interesting.
Yeah, and I'm still encouraged by Crawford County. If you're in Roberta, again, you should be down in the centermost room of your house with this one, but at least it is staying broad, and I hope that is the plan, is to stay this way. Here as you go crossing over into Bibb County here where my hand is, and again, this is moving at around 45, 50 miles per hour toward the east-northeast. So it has some giddy up on it. It's going to move in and move out really quickly, which is also good news. You don't want anything like this lingering around. So let's do this. It's been long enough. It's always you got to find the silver lining with any of these things. It becomes a good thing when you can, especially when it's moving this fast, start doing an all clear, at least for today. Of course, we have storms possible again tomorrow, but if you're anywhere toward the left of that, to the west, Upson County, you're done. Taylor County is done. Getting into Monroe County, the northwestern part's done, but for Scythe, seeing part of that severe thunderstorm warning with some strong winds there. And obviously Roberta with that tornado warning, which is broad for right now. That's good. What's the new ding?
They clipped back that Macon County tornado, so it's just, they made it smaller.
Oh, they made it small because it's moving so fast. It's outrunning parts of that polygon.
Oh, severe thunderstorm warning now for Perry and Cordele.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is what we talked about. Everybody at some point is going to get a piece of this. Maybe our northern counties don't, but I'm talking mainly Jasper, Putnam, if you stay out of it. But as you get on down through here, consider yourself in severe territory at some point. So southern Houston County, Bleckley, Pulaski, Dooley, Crisp, and Wilcox. And again, eventually down the line, it's going to be Wilkinson, Lawrence, Dodge. All these places are eventually going to see the same thing. Again, mainly a severe thunderstorm threat, meaning by that, mainly a straight line wind problem with this, but there are some wrinkles in there, and that is the occasional spin with some of these. And again, you can see it even in reflectivity mode. You can see this part rotating through Roberta, and you can see this part also a little bit of a spin on it as it heads in toward Perry here in a little bit. Taylor, we'll see if we can pull up that Perry Skycam. Maybe
yeah, sure.
And we'll just point it off toward the west, toward the interstate.
Yeah, I got you.
And we may not be able to see anything but just a ton of
Ooh,
rain.
the Macon one looks a little iffy too.
Yeah, the Macon one's not looking so good. Most of them, it's even hard to kind of see out of them. All right. Uh-oh.
Okay, let's see what's going on in Perry.
Let me get us back
Let me
over
drive
to
it a little
velocity mode.
I did want to mention that there are a lot of power outages going on now in Taylor and Macon counties. So that's something to consider. What our producer said is that that there's about 8 power outages affecting 900 people now for places that are north of Butler, west of Montezuma and Oglethorpe. There you go on your screen. You can see them now. They're driving the map, but those are where the power outages are. You can see that it's north of Butler and that's west of Montezuma, a lot of them. So make sure that you guys at least have in your kit some types of food and water just in case you do go through a power outage. And again, if you can safely show us any types of damage, power outages, let us know. You can let us know now. I'm watching the Facebook Live messages. I'm also, you can send them through email or through our 13 WMAZ Weather Network or through the Near Me part on our app. But as our producer is showing you is that just west of Oglethorpe in Montezuma, you're seeing some power outages there. So that is also a possibility as these really strong storms produce damaging winds that can knock down power lines and trees as it rolls through central Georgia.
Yeah, good point. That's another one of the downsides of all this. All it takes is one tree landing on one line, and then all of a sudden tons of people are out of power with that. Good news is, though, if you have your stuff charged, if you're farther east, charge it up now. Your phones, your tablets, all that stuff. We are not just on TV, but we're streaming on our website, on our app, Facebook, YouTube, I mean, all over the place. So there are ways you can still catch us even if you are losing power. It's not like the old days where all of a sudden you're in the dark and you're kind of on your own there. So that's better. Let's look at Crawford County here. There's a little bit of a trying to tighten up maybe a little bit here north and west of Roberta. It's not a ton and definitely don't want to see it do any more than that, but just at times to see a little bit of a fluctuation in there. But by and large, things have stayed fairly broad. But you can see obviously we're getting into the Macon area here before long as it's going to cross over the Crawford Bibb line. So if you're in Lizella, if you're Lake Tobesofkee, I'm not saying you're going to have a tornado come through there, but you could. I mean, you could have it briefly come through as this thing has from time to time kind of tightened up and kind of danced. That's what they do sometimes, these things. They'll go down to the surface for a little bit and then they'll kind of broaden out and then they'll come down again. And sometimes when you go back and look at the track of the tornado in the history, it'll look like a dotted line where it was actually on the ground and not a straight continuous line. So that's that one. Let's look at Macon County. That one kind of broad there a little bit. This is north of Montezuma, heading in toward the Marshallville area. Highway 224 right here. So this again moving toward the east-northeast. There's 127. So again, as we mentioned, severe thunderstorm warning stuff issued just a moment ago for a bunch of our counties too out ahead. Let's get back in.
I can't
If we can kill Taylor's mic just for a second. I think they're changing some stuff around there. And let engineering's working on some stuff for her right there. There's a look at the severe thunderstorm warning that is the most recent, which goes for Houston County. And again, broad rotation here in Macon County. It's not yelling at us, hey, I'm a tornado, look at me. But it is enough that we need to be concerned just in case this thing starts to flare back up. So if you're in Perry, as we mentioned, we've been looking at the Skycam shot. The flags are just moving just a little bit. I have a funny feeling in a little bit they're going to stand straight out facing toward the camera as the wind at least comes in. Now, whether or not it's rotating or not, we'll still have to wait and see on that. But you can see even with these latest scans coming through, getting close into Bibb County here. Again, a good thing out of this is, believe it or not, the quick movement, because no one likes to sit here and sit through this stuff as it's coming through. So let's get it in, get it through here, and get it on gone. That's the plan. All right. I'll go back to velocity mode.
For Ben, we do have...
Taylor's mic back hot again, please. There we go.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. We do have an EMA director coming on the line with you. We have the Taylor County EMA director, David Winham, calling in later to talk to you about what he's seeing there in Taylor County. But again, there still was a tornado warning there. So something to keep in mind. Again, damage reports and storm reports coming through, but we're going to have him on the line soon.
Yeah, I'll see that in about 5 minutes. Let's see. I was trying to get back over to the chat. Northeast Crawford.
Nothing really going on.
In Northeast Crawford, still seeing tornado, no debris signature approaching East Hopewell Road, east of Musella. So, okay, I think they're doing some more work on Taylor's mic, guys, if we can. That was at 3:18. There was the tornado observed in Macon County. I'm just reading in the chat as it was coming through. A confirmed tornado was located over Winchester, or 7 miles northeast of Oglethorpe, moving northeast at 40. So that's the one here that I showed you that had the debris signature on it for a little bit. It's very broad out there now, but at least at some point it was confirmed that it was on the ground, and we saw that with the CC map where you could see things actually loaded up into the air. Here's the one in Crawford. Again, still not getting together, which is still okay with me. But on the next scan, it's going to show it almost crossing over into Bibb County there as well. So again, any moving around this afternoon, and again, it's been a while since we've had one of these come through in the afternoon. Well, like I said, with the school type thing and all that, and let's just think clearly about this. Just knowing from training, being on the road, first of all, is not the best place to be. And if you're in a sturdy building, even if there's a delay in dismissing school or anything like that, I would want to err on the side of that, because you're talking about coming into the Macon area here now, again, more populated. I'm not saying, oh, this is more important than this. You got rural areas, now you're getting into really more populated areas at a time in the day when some of these schools are letting out and there's carpool and bus traffic and all this stuff and everything. We do not have a confirmed tornado on the ground with this or with this one right now, but the potential is there at any moment that this could spin back up again. It's a fast mover. It's about to cross into Bibb County with the next half hour or so to 45 minutes. It should almost be clear of most of this area here. And as we go through with the same timetable, coming into Houston County here, the same thing. So anywhere from Warner Robins down to Perry, Kathleen, these places, this is going to be moving at the same pace coming through, but it is moving into the core of the central Georgia area right now. So, all right, this is from Peachtree City. Circulation appears to be actually paralleling Highway 80 on the north side, northeast of Roberta, Crawford County. Yeah. That's what we were looking at there. Let's see. That's a flooding report. That does not look like from our area there. Taylor, you have something?
Yeah, I was going to say that the Bibb County school system just tweeted that all elementary schools will shelter in place, and dismissal will be delayed until the severe weather passes.
Where was this?
Bibb County.
Bibb County,
Bibb
yes.
County.
I think that's a good model for everybody. That was the Bibb County
Public
School
systems.
Bibb County Public School. Okay.
County. Mm-hmm.
Okay. In any of those school systems, your private schools out here, anything, if you're wondering what to do, or if it's too late, you've already let them go. I guess you've already let them go. But if you can hunker down, and there's the new tornado warning that now includes Macon into North Macon, what I just talked about. So now there is a warning, even though it is not showing up to be a tight circulation there. We are talking about. All right. Well, at least the phones work. All right. Okay, so obviously we're standing in Bibb County right now. There's that tornado warning. Again, I gotta be honest, Taylor, I'm looking at it and I don't see it.
I don't see it either, but maybe they're gonna see something. Maybe they're just concerned about the retightening.
I guess it could be population, time of day.
Right, exactly.
Those kind of things we were just talking about. So this is mainly the northern half of Macon. So this is kind of a North Macon thing here. So this is going to be, is Lake Tobo, Lizella here. Notice that this is not well defined. And we're hoping that it stays that way, that it's not going to tighten back up to a tight storm there. But the thinking is at least the potential is there. And let me know if they say something in the chat. They did?
For Macon, they were saying circulation and rotation is super close to downtown, would be in the downtown area in the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, well, I guess I could see that, except for downtown's down here.
Yeah, I mean,
here's where we are right here. And so here we're talking about on the fringe of this
like the north
polygon.
Downtown, I guess that's what they're trying to say. But I guess what you were saying earlier is what I guess they're trying to get through the message is that it's a heavily populated area.
Yeah, when they say downtown, they're probably talking the core of Macon. So
right, exactly.
So if you're in Bibb County, if you're in South Bibb, technically you're not in a tornado warning. But if you are in anywhere west, North Macon, Vineville area, all these places, you are in a tornado warning. Now, again, if I look at this, I don't see red and green right next to each other tight, which would be screaming, hey, here's where a tornado is. So that's good news, although anytime the scan comes back around, all of a sudden you could find yourself looking at this again. So far, so good that we haven't seen that. Of course, we're standing in this building and not in North Macon. I assume the sirens are probably going off out there. Again, don't panic. No reason for panic or anything like that. Again, I'm not seeing anything tightly rotating out there, but let's just do what you plan to do, all right? So if you have the family plan, you know the room, you know the bathroom, it's downstairs, it's in the basement, it's away from windows. Go in there, let the kids play Angry Birds on the phone, whatever it is. I'm probably dating myself. And then let the thing, Wordle, I don't care. And then let the thing come on through. You're in there 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it's over. And it's out of there. So that's the thing to do, is to not panic and let it just come on through. And again, the good news is we're not seeing bright red, bright green. We're watching each scan as it comes in to see if that changes. Let me look at another source here. Let's see. Is that a new scan that just came in? There's the new one right there. All right. So, I mean, there's a little bit. It's a little bit broad. It's kind of running down in toward Lizella here. So this is up and down 80, kind of paralleling actually what we were talking about a little bit earlier. So if it stays on this course, it'll kind of run like this. All right. So you're talking about, let's see. Well, here's Bass Road intersecting with Forsyth Road here, Wesleyan College. So kind of coming across through here and then eventually crossing over Riverside, 75 and all that. So again, just the core of the Macon area. Again, the good news is, as I look at this, I don't see these two really close together tightening up into something that's screaming tornado. But this is the cell that has had a history of rotating. I see Alex has jumped into the chat asking what we're saying.
Oh, that was me. I took.
Oh, that's you as Alex.
That's me posing as Alex there in the chat.
Okay, I see that there. Okay, you're on his. Yeah, thinking what we're thinking. Is it more of a precaution for a heavily populated area? Again, I see a new scan on this source coming in. It's still not really tightening up, which is good. Now, I think you're still going to have some very gusty winds coming through with this regardless. Now, let me back us back out here and show you that's the one that just came through a minute ago that does include Bibb and Jones County. But there's a new one right there, right on time, for the storm that was leaving Macon County. This is now in for Houston County. And there's Perry right here. Again, not a tight circulation that we can see on there, but enough to keep an eye on it here. So here's 75, here's Perry. So you know what we're talking about. And this would be the part of the cell here. So kind of look and see where you are on the map, and you can kind of get an idea of where the next stop would be. Again, moving something like 45, 50 miles per hour, 40 to 50 miles per hour toward the east-northeast, these storms are doing here. This one also a little bit in a different placement. I think that was maybe the original one back here. This wrinkle is down here a little bit farther toward the south. If it stays on this track, it may run underneath Perry and continue its march toward the east-northeast. See if I can keep an eye on both of them at the same time. So we have a lot of area, a lot of populated area that is under the gun with tornado warnings right now. We have the Macon area and a good chunk of Houston County, Peach County. Fort Valley, you were living right. You were threading the needle between this storm and this one down here. I don't see anything moving into there. So Peach County is looking okay, except for the southern part of Peach County here. This is all moving again toward the east-northeast. As we look up into the Macon area again, I'm not zoomed in tightly on it, but you kind of get the idea that it's not a tight rotation. It's still kind of broad out there, and it's already into Bibb County now. Let's go back up.
Is that a new severe thunderstorm warning?
That is. I think you're right. So now you have a severe thunderstorm warning for Jones, Baldwin, Wilkinson, Twiggs, Bibb, Houston.
There we go.
Everybody's in a severe thunderstorm warning. Until it gets on over to our eastern counties, anywhere from Irwinton to Sandersville to Dublin to Eastman, you're not there yet, but everybody else in a severe thunderstorm warning. All right, so everything that's happening out there is at least severe thunderstorm warning territory with the added tornado warning in between. All right, so this one's pointing at that, but that's really old right there. Let's see if it'll grab that other one. There it is right there. So that goes until 4 for this one. A lot of stuff laying on the map. There goes the old severe thunderstorm warning for Monroe, Crawford. That just fell off the screen. So did that old tornado warning. So this clears up the screen a little bit for us here. So you can see the severe thunderstorm warning, which goes for everybody up and down the line. So if we're doing the whatabouts, what about my town? What about my county? Everything. Everybody where it is heavily raining through the core of central Georgia is under severe thunderstorm warning. And we have 2 areas under tornado warning. And that is for the northern half of Bibb County, and then we get into this leaving Macon County, heading into the southern half to maybe getting into the middle of Houston County as we go through the next 30 to 45 minutes to get this on across here. So let's see. That one in Houston County, let me take a look at that one. It is, I'll be honest, I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, I'm not seeing anything that's just yelling, here it is, here's the tornado. But there's obviously some broad rotation in there, and at times there could be the potential for it to flare up. The one in Bibb County now, if you were to try to narrow down where it would be, would probably be somewhere in this area here near Lake Tobosoffke. This is about to cross over Thomaston Road and then make its way on down. If you're familiar with some of this area, here's Bass Road. So this is going, there's 475. So this is moving in this direction right here. There's Wesleyan College, and there's Forsyth Road where it hits Bass. So kind of in this, there's the new scan. So it looks like it's already crossing over 475, still without any sort of tight rotation there, which is good. Some gusty winds for sure, but I don't see anything that is clearly rotating on the ground. Having said that, there is a tornado warning. Again, it's a populated area and a time of day where a lot's going on. School kids getting out. Yeah, Taylor.
Okay, so like Ben was saying, these are moving super fast. So we're going to start to see some of these counties go down. But with these counties, we've also seen, especially places like anywhere from Upson down to Taylor in Macon County, we're seeing some of those power outages again. For Flint Power Energies, they have 13 power outages impacting 3,100 plus, so 3,000 people or more for places impacting Butler, Roberta, and Montezuma. So you can see the map, you're seeing a lot of those power outages for our western counties, and that could continue into the central and eastern counties as these severe thunderstorms move through. Like Ben said, make sure you have, if you live anywhere in the central part of central Georgia or east central Georgia, that you're making sure everything is charged at home, just in case your power does go out. Always in your kit, make sure you have some food and water, just in case the power to your fridge goes out. And you don't want to have anything happen with that. But again, we are reporting 3,000 power outages impacting Butler, Roberta, and places that are in the west parts of central Georgia.
Yeah, likely to see more of that as we go through this afternoon, I think, from west to east too. Let's see, getting some reports from some folks I know over in West Bibb that it was pretty rough there as it's been coming through. It looks like it has crossed over 475. Again, I'm not seeing anything that is saying here's where the tornado is, but there's at least some strong winds going on with this. Here crossing over or Bass Road here now. So this is going to be, next scan is probably going to jump ahead a pretty good bit. Again, it doesn't take long, and this is going to move on through, and that'll be it. I'll start drawing some all clears on the map. And for now, things are at least staying okay, that we're not seeing the really tight couplet there. And if you've ever followed tornado coverage with us, tight couplet means that is where it is pretty much just yelling, this is a for sure tornado. And the same one that is moving in the Houston County, same thing with that one. Is that a new tornado warning underneath that one?
Yep.
Yes, there is. It is. So that is Dooley and Pulaski now. That one also broad looking, nothing terribly tight with that, but that one goes until 4:15. Now the map has to get bigger as we try to keep an eye on all three of these at one time. So again, if you've seen this stuff before and you've seen the really bright red and green pixels next to each other, which is showing you where the rotation is, none of these three are yelling that out. And we hope that is a trend that continues. As long as it's broad, it's at least not very fun as it comes through with some gusty winds and trees kind of bouncing around a little bit, you know, the limbs and this and that. But it'll blow on through, and at least without anything rotating so far that we're seeing. I mean, the tornado warnings are out for at least the potential, I think, of that. Let's see. For Bibb, severe thunderstorm warning capable of, let's see, all right. Continues tornado warning for Bibb. Yes, Taylor, go ahead.
So we're seeing some damage reports now coming out from Macon County as that storm system has passed. We even have reports coming from our Facebook Live, but from our one of the people in Macon County, they're saying that there are trees and power lines down on Highway 240 between Highway 226 and Everwood Road there in Macon County. So definitely seeing some damage reports. If anybody else is seeing damage reports on the Facebook Live, make sure that you're telling us. And people are also saying that, yeah, trees are down for that. So just make sure you're staying safe, because trees can also cause significant damage, whether it's to your house. So make sure to stay inside, like Ben said, the most interior room of your house. But again, we are seeing trees and power lines down, which makes sense as to why we're having those power outages in those specific areas. And the Weather Service just continued that tornado warning for that was Houston, just Houston County now.
Okay, all right, thanks, Taylor. I think now we're going to be joined on the phone by Taylor County EMA Director David Wyndham. David, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Hey, man, that storm that came through your area just a moment ago, just to give people some perspective there, is the one that's in North Macon now. That's how fast this thing has been moving. And then we have these other two, Houston County going into Dooley and Pulaski. What was it like as it came through? You're in Butler, right?
That's correct. Well, we got some pretty significant damage west of Butler in the Malk area. It looks like it tracked further east over into the Fickle Mill area. We're actually at this time trying to access the area. We got multiple crews out. We got trees that's down, roads impassable, power lines wrapped up everywhere. And I am getting some reports that we do have some structural damage. Currently at this time, I don't know what the extent of the damage is. Hadn't had any reports of injuries, which is a blessing, but we just ask right now that everybody just stay kind of hunkered down, and if they need anything to call 911, and we'll dispatch somebody to them as quick as we can.
All right, David, we'll let you go. We know you got some important stuff going on there. Keep in touch with us. Anything changes, or if you notice anything else, let us know, okay?
Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, David. It's not exactly a couplet, but it's a little brighter here in the Macon area. This is Forsyth Road here, all right? So you're talking about Wesleyan College through here, already past Bass Road. So this is coming across towards 75. There's a new scan. It's broad rotation out there, but something to keep an eye on as this comes on across. So if you're anywhere in the Macon area now, from Forsyth Road over to Riverside and 75, need to kind of be thinking about where you'd want to be in case this thing tightens up anymore. Let's go on down. Obviously, we're not going to have any problem street spotting here. So you're talking about Forest Hill Road, Lock Choppy area here, coming across Rivoli, Old Lundy, Winchester, Wimbish, all these areas. Again, it may not be anything that's on the ground. Let's not panic about it, but the potential is there that it could be at times wanting to tighten up a little bit. I've been encouraged over the past hour or so looking at this that it's not, really doing the tight tornado signature thing, which is what you don't want it to do. But there is enough of it going on that the warning continues. Looks like they've trimmed more of that warning. What that's telling me is this thing is moving so fast that even that scan I'm showing you, there's the new one, is out of date. So now it's here. It is already to 75 almost. So you're talking about downtown here. Obviously, here's where we are. And then moving into Jones County in just a little bit. The thing's booking it. I mean, so it's flying. Taylor.
I will say, you don't have to turn over me, but I will say that the NWS has seen the observed tornado with this system right there. For if you go back to Ben, you can see it on his screen. But you can see the tornado right there. They said it's observed from what they can say.
Well,
I know that is iffy, but
well, I was going to say if we could observe it, but the Macon Skycam has been so rain wrapped,
Right.
I doubt we could even see that. We could try
Right.
to look out there.
but instead of radar indicated, it is saying observed.
Okay.
That's the Perry Skycam. I can switch it to Macon real quick to see, but Perry is getting a lot of rain rolling through. Let's
right.
see if I can switch it to.
I'm hearing debris signature in Macon on CC. Alex says. Maybe we can take a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah,
there it
you
is.
can see it now. It's on the
There it is
ground.
right there. So that is a debris signature in Macon that it has picked some stuff up. This is 75. If you're about to get on 70, well, by the time you hear me say it, you won't have time to change course. Riverside Drive, 75 area right here. That is debris that's in the air from this tornado in the Macon area. Let's go back to velocity mode. Yeah, again, it's not overly impressive, but all it takes is for it to touch down even between scans.
Right.
Just enough to pick some stuff up there. Let me turn off the warning layer for a
And
second.
exactly what Ben was saying earlier is with these things, it can go scan to scan and it will be different just because it is one of those lines where you get just spin up tornadoes, they release, they go back, they release.
They're so hard to nail down in a QLCS environment like this. They've always called it whack-a-mole, and that's exactly what it is, where you're just, bam, you hit one, and then that one goes away, and then another one. And then you'll think, oh, this is for sure a tornado, and then it's just gone. Let's come back. Let me show you the big picture for a second before I go back to velocity mode. The good news is if you are in West Macon, pretty much like this line, just look for the dark red. Anything that's to the west of that, you are clear for today. We have maybe some more stuff coming tomorrow, but hopefully nothing like this. This is still going into Jones County. This is still going into Houston County, Dooley into southern Houston, into Pulaski, those tornado warnings. Everything else that you see here in yellow is all at least severe thunderstorm warning criteria. So, I mean, it's at least severe in some sense. Whether or not it's rotating, that's only in those red polygons that you see. All right, so let me go back and find velocity. Let's start with the Macon one. Again, we did see a debris signature in there. So to our newsroom, as we're doing calls, somewhere, possibly Vineville Avenue, kind of the Midtown area, crossing over into the Riverside Drive 75 area, not too far away from the station this signature is right here. This is moving again toward the east-northeast. So it's about to cross over into Jones County right there. Have you tried the sky camera? Or is it? Oh, no, you're looking at...
I'm looking at the debris signature.
Yeah, go to Taylor's screen.
Yeah, let's look at this real quick for the debris signature. And if we can change the camera over, thank you so much. Right there, you can see the lofted debris, and that is just east of I-75. So that must have either... must have either just touched down right on 75 or touched down as soon as it went right over 75. And what we're seeing is, if you see those greener colors showing you that this is causing rotation enough to where it's lifting stuff off the ground, like Ben said. This is in North Bibb County, just south of the Bibb-Jones County line. So while it won't go through straight downtown Macon, right now you can see the newest scan, and that's picking up even more. We're even seeing now white on the debris signature there. And so that's for the Bibb-Jones County line, so North Bibb, South Jones, and about to cross over now Highway 129. So just keep in mind, if you are in this, we are definitely seeing some debris lofted, which is pretty indicative of something touching the ground and at least lifting things in the air there in Macon, just north of Macon and very southwest of Gray. But again, we still do have 3 active tornado warnings right now.
Yeah, let me see, I'm looking at 1,000 things at one time. I'm looking at the one in Houston County here as well, back on Max 2. And again, the rain pouring on the roof here at the station now. Okay, the board is locked up in the control room. We've taken some power hits. Okay, so let's see if you can give me velocity mode.
Yeah, I can. I got you.
Taylor on Max 1. We're gonna play off one machine here.
Okay, which one do you want to go to?
Let's do the Perry area first.
It's tightening a little.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part broad, but it's already, and this just shows you how fast this is moving, that it's already heading toward Kathleen here. So again, some very fast movers. Let's head on up to the Macon one, because I think that thing is already in Jones County. It is.
It's already crossed the line.
Yeah, just north of the station here. It just passed. But now we're getting the heavy rain here. But the actual, if there's anything rotating or the debris signature is up to the north. I don't think we'd see anything on Skycam other than just rain.
I would agree.
These are rain wrapped down here. That's why this is not a storm chasing part of the United States. You just can't see them.
And then here's Dooley, Houston, and Pulaski.
Yep. Again, broad, which is how you want it.
Right, exactly.
You don't want it tightening up, but if, just kind of look down the line, Highway 26 coming out of Unadilla here, Hawkinsville, you're in that kind of cone of the polygon. It may stay a little bit north of town, but go ahead and just hunker down as though it is coming through Hawkinsville, just in case.
Let's see if I can pull up some of the sky cams. Here's Macon. This is downtown Macon.
Yeah, definitely.
Windy, messy.
Go back to, let's go velocity, Bibb Jones storm. It looks like it's a little bit of a, let's see if I can get the latest scan on this one. Well, earlier I was seeing it. Let's see, which one am I on here? I am on storm relative, I think, velocity. It's a little brighter. I think it's just brighter on this laptop I'm seeing, but not as much of a notch as what I was thinking there. But this is firmly in Jones County now. It has already left the Macon area. So as far as let's see if I can I was wanting to be able to show you with my computer, but we can't take this shot right now. Again, a lot of power outages in the area. At least we're still on the air, but we have taken a few hits here. Anywhere from the core of Macon, let's do one big reflectivity shot of the whole DMA. Of just the rain. Okay, there. So now you can see anywhere from basically, for the most part, most of Macon is done. As you get into Warner Robins, a lot of heavy rain, severe thunderstorm warning there, and that's tornado warning, which goes past Perry toward Kathleen, and then the one that's flashing down there, Dooley into Pulaski. If it holds, that'll go to Bleckley. But I was trying to show you that almost half of our area is in the clear. Monroe County's done. Crawford, Upson, Taylor, Macon, Peach County is done. A good chunk of Bibb County is now done. I told you it's a fast mover. The western half, almost, western tip of Jones County is done. Jasper is done. Again, tomorrow we have another level 3 threat. Hopefully that'll change some. We're going to have to wait and see how, after this is all over, how that's going to play out tomorrow. But again, for the most part, I know it sounds weird, but given the environment, I'll take it. What we've had so far, that we don't have 3 that are necessarily screaming tornadoes out there. I've seen those before. You've probably seen those on air with us before. These are generally broad, but they have touchdown in spots. Again, we mentioned the Macon area with some debris. A little bit earlier, we noticed that was coming in through kind of the heart of Macon. It looks like, Alex is saying, looks like debris signature broke up just past Gray Highway. So just past us here. In other words, whatever it picked up, it let go of it once it got down past the Macon area. So there could have been a touchdown at some point. Okay, you think you got me coming back? Indeed you do. Okay, so again, as I was saying, anywhere that's to the west of the, notice how, watch how that's rotating. You can see the whole storm rotating. You can see it right here. Follow it along, and you can see it spinning. You can see these doing the same thing. So yes, it is in a line. You can see the one at the bottom of the screen doing the same thing here. It's in a line, but there are those swirls within the line. And really the models had this nailed right on. We were seeing these kinks in here. And notice they're almost equidistant here. There's 3 of them apart. And if you're in Jones County, again, you have a tornado warning. There's a lot of heavy rain coming down in Gray. If there's any circulation, it should be south of town. Warner Robins, this looks to be mainly underneath you as far as a tornado threat, if there is anything. But I know there's making a racket out there with the thunder and a lot of lightning, and definitely some gusty winds. Let's get back in to velocity mode. If you are in Gray, I'm not seeing anything rotating, but I know you got a lot of wind coming through town. And again, these things are moving so fast that by the time we get the scan on the radar, and I'm showing it to you, it's already 10, 15 miles past. You know, it's already gone.
They just dropped the tornado warning.
Good.
Yes, that's good.
Good. That's great to hear. Jones County, the one that was in the Macon area, that tornado warning is gone. There's just straight line winds with that. Good news, good news. So if you're in Jones, Baldwin County, sigh of relief for right now on that. And hopefully you at least have severe thunderstorm warning, straight line winds. But right now I don't see anything more than that. The one that is in, yes. We are in Houston County right here. We are looking at the Bon Air area. I'm looking at a bunch of stuff coming in at one time. So there is Bon Air, Kathleen. So you've got the big intersection here, 129. This is all crossing over. It may already be past this point. Again, I'm not seeing anything terribly tight with the rotation with the one in Houston County. It is fairly broad out there. So, but as Macon proved, Bibb County proved a moment ago, it looked broad like this the whole way across, and all of a sudden we're seeing a debris signature. That means somewhere in the 5 minutes or so between these scans, it went boop, boop, right back up again and picked some stuff up. So that's the reason for the warning, because you may not even see it here because it happens so fast that it'll just kind of dance and it'll just sort of skip, hop and skip as they go across here. So right now it looks broad. Hopefully that'll stay that way. Let me go down to this one, which is heading in toward Pulaski County. This one shows up a little bit more. Again, it's still a little bit elongated here, but this is coming into Pulaski County, 230, 26, coming into western parts of town for Hawkinsville in a little bit. If you're in Hawkinsville, obviously we want to get down into tornado mode as it's coming across, whatever it is you had planned, the centermost room of your house, away from windows. Very simple. Just more than likely everything's just fine if you'll just do the easy rules like that. Severe thunderstorm warnings everywhere else. There is a new tornado warning that is now from that one in Bon Air I showed you just a moment ago, that now includes our radar site. Please don't touch that. We need it. So this is Twiggs County here, and then moving eventually on up into Wilkinson. So this new tornado warning, again, a broad signature in Houston County. This thing is moving in a hurry, so it's going to be crossing over into Twiggs in just a little bit. And there's the new scan, still staying broad for the most part. Let's go back down to this one. Again, it looks like it wants to tighten up a little bit here in Pulaski County. It would be in this area coming right over the county line if it were to do so. So if you're anywhere around Highway 230, let me go in a little bit, see if we can do some street spotting. This is the closest one I've seen that we can actually find. Burnt Bridge Road, County Road 85, Joe Adams Cemetery Road. So if you're familiar with any of these spots out here, again, by the time we see the next scan, it may already be past here. These things are flying through here. So as we zoom out and see with proximity to Hawkinsville, what was the latest move? Oh, go ahead, Taylor.
You go ahead. We're going to ask me?
Latest
movement?
Yeah, I mean, we're assuming 40 to 50, somewhere in there. I was going to try to do a quick track.
This is Dooley County, it's 45.
45, let's go out. 45, I don't know if I saved myself enough room. I did not. Oop, let me erase that. And then I'm just going to do this quickly, Taylor, and then I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, you're fine, you're fine.
Let's go 45. Okay, so let's go like in this direction here, and we will say these spots. So we're talking about Cochran, about 20 minutes, if it holds. I mean, if it holds the way it is. These cells have at least kept tornado warnings. It may not be anything that's rotating by the time it gets to you, but just be prepared for that. Hawkinsville, it may clip parts of town or stay north, and you can see some of the other places in there. Taylor, yes, go ahead.
I want to pay your attention to everybody. For Houston, Twiggs, and Wilkinson, quickly now in Bon Air. So
yes,
everybody in Bon Air really needs to hunker down now because this rotation is super tight. That's around Highway 129 and Highway 96 in Bon Air. So if you are in Bon Air, you need to be in your safe space now. This one is even moving even faster than Dooley County. The Pulaski one is moving at 50 miles an hour. So they are just packing a punch, and just like Ben, I don't think I saved myself enough room for this, so let me zoom out a little bit. But this one is showing super tight rotation.
I'm getting gate to gate shear in Bon Air at 100 miles per hour.
Okay, so gate to gate shear is 100 miles an hour. So that's a lot of fast winds. Even if it's not a tornado, winds like that are super damaging. So definitely make sure that you are hunkering down if you live in Bon Air or if you live anywhere in Twiggs County near Jefferson over there. But I will put a track on this storm. Again, if you live in Kathleen, you are just south of this, so you should be okay, but don't leave your safe space just for now. It's still going about 50 miles an hour. So anywhere from, again, Bon Air, it's at your doorstep now, hunker down now. But anywhere to Bullard, which is 403, it's going to be knocking on your door. District Path, 409 in Jeffersonville, that's 414. And it's moving so quickly. So just make sure that you're in this path, that you're hunkering down. Again, Ben said that there are gate-to-gate shears of 100 miles an hour with this one. And just like we've been saying all day is that this can come and go. Just like this was showing no really tight rotation just about 3-4 scans ago, you're seeing yellows now in this scan, right? I'll take you even closer. Seeing blues and yellows and reds touching right here. I'll take you closer to some of the areas, but yeah, that would be Old Hawkinsville Road. So if you live anywhere down there, make sure you are in your safe place. Down to Cullen Road, Bear Lake, Shadow Wood Drive.
And we are getting debris signature there now too.
Okay, I'm gonna turn that to that. Oh, and that's a very defined debris signature with the blues and the whites in there. So that's showing you that some part of this possible tornado has either touched down and picked stuff up, or just lofting stuff really high in the air for us to see. Again, that is just now northeast of Bon Air, northeast of the 129 and the Highway 96 area. So make sure that you are hunkering down if you live in Houston, Twiggs, or Wilkinson counties.
Okay, yeah, and they're talking about Peachtree City saying possibly a strong tornado. So Not trying to scare anybody or freak anybody out, but at least at this moment in history right now, it has come down enough to the surface. This is what we're talking about, how they fluctuate to where it is, at least at some point, has touched the ground near Bon Air here and is crossing. There's Bullard here, and eventually you get on into Twiggs County. But notice these colors right here. This is where rotation would be on the latest scan. And as I look here at CC, this right here,
oh my goodness,
that dot that you see there, this is debris aloft in the atmosphere there in Houston County. So already past Bon Air. Let me get it back to the other mode here. This is going to take it over into Twiggs County in just a little bit. So it doesn't have much longer in Houston County. I'm going to try to take the warning layer off, and we will check in on some of the numbers here. We're looking at gate-to-gate share of 103. So some of these places really showing up on here. So definitely all the things we've said, safe place, all that stuff. And at least at some point, it did touch down enough to pick some stuff up because there is a debris signature. Now, if we zoom out and look at that compared to this one down here, it shows up a little bit, but this one obviously now is the biggest game in town. This is the one that we're paying the most attention to, leaving Houston County, heading into Twiggs. Air Force Base up at the top of your screen here. So not much longer it'll be coming over 23. Here's 16. If you know somebody that's going to be getting on I-16 within the next 20 minutes or so, tell them don't do it. Not a good idea because this will probably crossing over the interstate in just a little bit. So Warner Robins, you're clear. Bon Air, you're now clear. Hopefully there wasn't any damage there. But that is now gone. Let's check back in on the one here in Jones County. That one looks like it wants to kind of flare a little bit near Haddock. That's a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. Let me see, take us to, some of this is just going to be strong winds with that one. Let's focus in on this one for right now. Everything else, and I know there's so many areas that you'd say, well, what about my area? But everybody else is seeing rain, thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms. That's blanket thing. This one right here is the one that is rotating the most. That latest scan looks a little broader, and hopefully it stays that way, but at some point, just like in Bibb County earlier, somewhere in Macon there was a touchdown for a second and debris was lofted in the atmosphere. Same thing has happened here around Bon Air. And you can see again, that's the tornado debris signature. It picks some stuff up somewhere here around Bon Air, and it's aloft in the air right here, crossing over into Twiggs. So as the computer stuff over the years, and we didn't used to have this a long time ago, but you can now see where things, it gives you kind of a confirmation where you know that it has touched at least at some point has touched down. So I'm looking around at some other things here, just checking a bunch of stuff at one time. That's not what I wanted. Let's go to
hey Ben, can I take it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, jump in.
So I want to show not only where we're seeing this lofted area, but where we are really seeing it very up close. So here are some of the neighborhoods, because this is one of our more heavily populated areas. There's just Bon Air and Houston County in general. But if you live there in Falcon, over there on Huntshire Trace and Hampton Points and all of those, it just passed you. So you should be okay, but still stay in your space now. Bullard, you would be next, and that's Highway 23 coming up. Adams Park Road to Greater New Hope Road, you are right directly in this line, and this is a huge signature, again, showing that there's a lot of stuff being lofted in the air for places there now in this is Twiggs County now. So if you live in Bon Air, Kathleen, you are okay now. That tornado warning should expire for you very soon. But if you live anywhere there on the Houston County and Twiggs County lines, that's where we're seeing this pretty big signature for tornadoes. Let's go to the radar. It definitely has broadened out. It's kind of hard to see it now, but definitely, if nothing else, very high winds in that area. Okay, let's see. I was checking back in on, well, I was looking at the wrong one here, but that debris signature, as you mentioned, is still there. Yes. At some point, like we saw with Bibb going into Jones, it'll kind of fall out at some point. But man, it just goes to show you how these things can go from broad, not much to it, bam, on the ground, pick stuff up, and then it's back broad again. New tornado warning for Milledgeville. New tornado warning. I wondered about that. That's the one that came out of Jones County that was going through the Macon area earlier.
That one again looks kind of broad, but it definitely has had the potential of having some tornadic stuff going on with it. So that's Baldwin County. Here's Milledgeville right here. It looks like it's going to stay north. Well, I'm trying to find it. It's somewhere back in here, but it looks like it's going to stay north. It's going to go over 212, 441 in just a little while. Again, a fast mover. So go ahead and look at where this scan is and put yourself ahead of that, because as fast as this stuff is moving, by the time the radar comes in and gets data again, you can see the jump. Again, I see some things trying to fire up. Definitely very windy with this coming through.
Ooh.
As far as rotation, we'll have to see. What was that, Taylor?
Pulaski and Lawrence County now, a new one.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Or extended from the older one.
Okay, all right, so yeah, that replaced, hey, thank you, Roy. So that replaced that one. Water coming your way, Taylor.
Oh,
All right, so that one goes, again, into Twiggs County here. We're talking about coming out of Pulaski into Bleckley and into Lawrence County. So I told you if you're in our eastern counties, as we go through the afternoon, all this stuff's going to eventually move over. Cochrane area, we'll see if it comes through the town there. Again, this one's one that's been broad for the most part, but at times we'll want to tighten up a little bit. The one that has been really showing off the most as of recent is the one that was in Houston County going into Twiggs County just a moment ago. None of these do I see as tight rotators right now. Let's go back up to the newest one on the map again. This is going to be Baldwin County. I also don't see anything tightly rotating with this one, but as we've seen, that can change at any moment. So it may not even be something that's rotating, but there's enough wind, trust me, in here to get your attention as it's coming through. So do the same thing you would do either way. Just get away from the windows, get in the centermost room, basement, wherever you can get. Make it a fun thing. Take the kids in there with the old iPad and let them play some games or something. It's going to be quick. It only lasts a few minutes, whether it's tornadic or not. It's just going to come on through and that'll be it. So it's not going to be a really long thing that's going to last forever. And again, most of what we're seeing today, I think, or have been ones that have just been kind of stepping down for a second, and they'll just drop down and pick some stuff up for just a little bit and keep moving, as opposed to ones that just run across the ground, just doing all kinds of damage. That's the way it's looking so far to me. Broad rotation that will narrow occasionally, and that's what we saw in the Bon Air area. And so a couple of spots that we're checking on our newsroom is with the one that came through Bibb County in the Macon area. We saw definitely a debris signature with that, and then the one recently right here. Taylor.
I want to say that for the places that are west of this kind of main line, we're still seeing a lot of rain, and I want to pay your attention to somewhere in just west of our area. While there are no active severe thunderstorm warnings for anywhere from Thomaston down to Montezuma, we're already seeing some flash flood warnings, and that's possible as this rain kind of keeps going over and over. So be super careful as you're driving out, getting those kids from school, going home from work, because we could see the potential for some flash flooding. And even in those same areas, Frank, we're already seeing some power outages as well.
Oh, yeah. Or Frank, are you ready? Or we don't have to go over there now if you don't want to.
I'm good to go.
Are you good to go? Okay, well, check in with Frank. We're going to do some kind of recapping of what's been going on this afternoon while Taylor and I kind of get in and
regroup. A whole lot going on.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you all very much. Yeah, we are seeing large outages, as Taylor was just referring to, in our western counties. The storm has already moved through there. Flint Energies reports 18 power outages impacting more than 4,500 people in their service area. You can see on this map right here the area most impacted north of Butler and Reynolds, both of those in Taylor County. Also a lot of outages around Montezuma, as Ben and Taylor have been telling you about. A lot of problems down there in Macon County. That's north and west in Macon County. They've been hit hard. Georgia Power reports more than 6,800 customers impacted in the Macon area. That is in the North Macon area. Now, Bibb County Schools tweeted at 3:15 this afternoon that all elementary schools would shelter in place. They said dismissal was delayed until the severe weather passes. They said they will notify us with updates. That is the latest we have heard from Bibb County. They did go ahead and shelter in place a short while ago, which was probably a good idea. And we also do have a viewer sending us photos, including one from Whitewater Park, and that is in Macon County, and it shows power lines and trees down along this road. Again, that's Whitewater Park, and that is in the Macon County area. We want to take a moment to remind you to send us photos and videos, but only when it is safe to do so. Your safety is, of course, our highest priority. If you see some damage, you can share them with us. Text them to 478-752-1309. You can also upload them to the Near Me feature on our app. All right, and back from here, Ben and Taylor, back to you as things continue to fire up out there.
Yeah, we're still watching these storms coming across, and of course power outages is what you expect as a lagging effect as this stuff comes on across. 3 tornado warnings out there for right now. That is Baldwin County, Twiggs, eventually Wilkinson if it holds, and then Bleckley County going into Lawrence County. So those are the 3 we're watching. But the good news is all 3 of these as of now have broad rotation, which means they're not narrowed down into where they're on the ground picking stuff up that I can tell. Definitely we have a good view of this one because the radar is right here. That's why that would make our job a little bit more difficult. So that again is very difficult to even see anything. I don't see anything that's tightened up. If anything, if there's one that's wanting to kind of get together a little bit, it's this one in Bleckley County right here. Again, it's not anything screaming, hey, I'm a tornado, but there's a tornado warning. So Cochran, let's just do the thing, man. You know, just get away from the windows, centermost room. No panicking. We just get into where we're supposed to be. Matter of a couple minutes, it's out of here and it's gone just like that. So let me do some all clears on the map. We have a lot of them now that we can do, which is good news. Again, unfortunately, we do have a severe threat again tomorrow. We are back in a level 3 tomorrow. Hopefully not this kind of stuff, but we'll know better once we get this on out of here, and then we can kind of analyze all that and see where the National Weather Service is with it. But there's the all clear. Anything to the west of that, to the left, you're done. So that means all of Bibb County, Houston, Jones County pretty much now is done. Jasper, Monroe, Crawford, Upson, Taylor, Macon, Dooley. Same thing. Southeast corner of Dooley still going a little bit, but Crisp, Pulaski, Wilcox, Dodge, Lawrence, Telfair, Wheeler, Trutland, Johnson, Washington, Hancock, Wilkinson, Baldwin, all still in the mix, but not for terribly long because this stuff is just, like I said, it's just flying across here. So that's good news because we go ahead and it's kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off. You kind of get it on through here. Let's go back and check again. Velocity can jump on you in a hurry. You can go from almost nothing to blowing it up again. Let's see, which one was it? It was the one that came out of Twig that had the debris signature earlier. I want to see something with this. All right, so let's take this one. Wasn't it that one? Yeah, it came in. There it is right there. All right. There's a beep going on. Look at Bon Air right here and watch when it picks it up. And you can see the debris signature show up. It should show up right there. You can see that blue blob right by that lightning bolt. And then you can see when it dropped it and let it go. So there's where it picked stuff up in Bon Air and then it fell out. What was that ding there? That was... Oh, there's a lot on that map. That tornado watch box is there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn that watch box off. That's a little bit useless. I think we all get we're under a tornado watch. Let's take some of those lines off. All right, so then we have the tornado warning. And look at this, just to show you as we zoom out. We talked about even to our south, untouched areas that have not had rain today would be in the zone. Albany with a handful of tornado warnings down there. So this goes all the way down to the Gulf. And then there's tornado warnings in South Carolina. So an active day. There's the big picture, and again, you can watch these as they come across, and you can see the spin even in reflectivity mode here with the rain coming across. So whether or not there's something on the ground, those cells in that line have been rotating the whole way across. That's the reason you're seeing some of these tornado warnings continue, whether or not it's on the ground, because it's already been established that this is going to be one of those tornadic storms all the way across. We will get back in. Velocity is what it's all about on a day like today. You're trying to see if anything's spinning. Let's do the tour again. Baldwin County now. So this is north of Milledgeville, I think. I don't see anything, again, pinpointing exactly where, but some strong gusty winds around Lake Sinclair. This is heading in eventually toward Sparta, Hancock County, either way, on the southwest side. This is Milledgeville, rain, strong winds, all of that stuff. As we go down, there is the one that is really crossing right over the radar site right now. Chris Flore with Macon Bibb County texted me here to report down trees and power lines if you in the Macon Bibb area, and I think there may be some of that with that tornado that came through. Frank, you can write this down too. We can recap and put this on a lower third. It's 833-535-4362. Now, this is Macon Bibb County, 833-535-4362 for trees or power lines to report. Of course, emergencies, you call 911 on that. And this would let crews know where to get en route in case we have those spots. I do suspect up here in the Macon area behind the banner right here, somewhere in there, something touched down in the midtown part of Macon right there for a little bit and picked up some debris. We saw a signature there for a little bit. So there may be some spots like that. Again, the one in Twiggs County, it's kind of sitting right over the radar right now, which when you get that close, then it becomes, ironically, very difficult because then you can't see it. It's just sitting above you.
The cone of silence.
Yep, it's right there, and then you got to wait for it to pop back out the other side. As we go on down, looking at that one in Bleckley County, still broad. That's good news. You want it to stay broad like this. It just shows that this whole thing is turning because you're seeing wind toward the radar, wind away from the radar. So it's still doing this, as we've seen on reflectivity mode. It's just not doing it really small in one spot like a tornado on the ground. So when you see that, you know you've got a rotating storm that at any time could put something down. Thanks, dude. No, thank you. Let's see.
Still some broad rotation with that one in Baldwin, Hancock, and Putnam, too.
Baldwin, yeah, the one, Lake Sinclair. Yeah, I think even with that, you're at least getting strong straight line winds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you may have some stuff rotating in there, but just treat it as though it is a tornado warning. But again, the good news with all three of these, as we stand back and look, is we're not seeing any of them do like it did in the Macon area a little earlier or in Bon Air, where things literally just went boom on one scan, and all of a sudden the colors really took off there. So this is broad. This is, you can deal with this. This is broad, probably windy, making a racket out there. And then that at the bottom in Bleckley County, heading toward Lawrence County, is also broad rotation with that. All of this other stuff back here, you're done. Again, we do have another severe threat tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see how that plays, but we'll have more on that tonight as we look at it again and see. Let's see, actually, we could do this. We could take a look at the models. This is just to show you how this plays out for tonight. This is not really picking it up on time, but you get the idea as we go on through. This is around 6 o'clock. Even notice with some of these, it doesn't mean that it's going to be doing this in the exact spot, but notice even the model picks up on the swirls within the line here as it comes across through 6, 7 o'clock. And then that threat will be over in the next couple hours or so. Then we'll quiet down for the overnight. We get into tomorrow. There's morning, maybe a few showers. It does try to show some stuff firing up in the afternoon. Whether or not that's severe, we'll have to wait and see. Could just be garden variety thunderstorms with maybe some gusty winds with it. And then it could hang around some as we get on into tomorrow night before we're kind of trying to trail away. And then the actual cold front will come in and sweep all this out late tomorrow night into Thursday morning. So we'll know better as we get closer. I think there's still probably going to be some sort of a threat of a spin up tomorrow. Hopefully not in the intensity, in the frequency that we're seeing today. But anyway, let's focus on today. We still have this going on. So there it is. Baldwin going into Hancock. Also Twiggs going into Wilkinson, and then Bleckley into Lawrence County. Now, if you're thinking, well, I'm in Dodge County, what's going on? Well, you don't have it. You have a severe thunderstorm warning down here, but you don't have a tornado warning. Having said that, there is a tornado warning south of Cordele on those storms that have been coming in out of the Albany area. So you follow the movement of that up toward the east-northeast. We'll see if that clips parts of Telfair County. So far, this section has been straight line winds and not rotating. So that's good news, Rochelle, Abbeville, Eastman. Yes, Taylor.
Okay, so for this, I did want to show not only Dublin, you're staying a little bit quiet right now, but from the chat, they continued that tornado warning for Jeffersonville into Nicholsville and Irvington, so Twiggs and Wilkinson County till 4:45. And what they're saying is that signature just came back just south of the radar. You can kind of see it. What we can see is like that cone of silence. And that's really where you get that radar, and the radar cannot detect really anything immediately around it. But if you see just to the south, which is about a mile south of the radar, you're seeing those yellows and blues and greens and reds touching. And that's just a signature. I'll see if I can get, okay, you can see a little bit of like a debris signature, but it's very hard to tell just because we are right on top of that radar. Again, super hard to tell when we have stuff like this, but what the Weather Service is saying is that there is rotation once again and a signature there just south of Jeffersonville, south of our radar, and then they have continued the tornado warning until 4:45.
Yeah, I see that, and in the chat is saying the same thing. A TDS, tornado debris signature, less than a mile south of Jeffersonville radar. What is the ding? I don't see it in the chat. I'm trying to figure out what all the hubbub's about here in the studio. Let me take the watch box off again and save this so we don't have to do that again. Okay, so the big shot again with all this. Look at what's going on in the Albany area, just to show you we're not alone. Just a handful of tornado warnings down there. Those storms are actually kicking it even worse than these, to be honest, because this is untouched atmosphere down here south of our area. It's been warm and muggy and all that stuff, and there's been no rain to turn it over. We're somewhat fortunate with some of this today that we've had that big rain shield all day to kind of till things over. Leading up to this, so these have been fluctuating. I think these are going to be
We have a new
deal.
warning.
Oh, what you got?
New warning just south there for places in Bleckley, Dodge, and now Lawrence. So
I see it
there
now.
we go.
I was sitting there running my mouth and missed
No,
it.
you're good. They're kind of touch each other, so that's kind of hard to tell. But that's a new tornado warning. That's until 4:45. You can kind of see a little bit, but still very broad rotation. But there are two tornado warnings right on top of each other within a severe thunderstorm warning now. But the new one is for Bleckley, Dodge, and Lawrence County, including Dexter, the city of Dexter, not Dublin, but city of Dexter, up into I-16 until 4:45.
Yeah, I think what they did too is it's so broad out there, and it's on that southern extent. It almost kind of could somewhat replace that Cochran to Dudley one.
I would agree.
It's kind of saying that this thing is somewhat of a right turner, and so it's kind of coming more across, so back over here to Max 2, that you can see it coming across the northern tip of Dodge County into Lawrence County like this, as opposed to the original track, which kind of went like this. So sometimes you'll see that. Either it'll plop down somewhere else, a different part of the line will pick up and become the rotator, or sometimes it'll even turn a little bit. So that's northern Dodge. If you're in northern Dodge, heading on into Lawrence County here, there's Dublin. So Dublin,
Wow.
looking on down the line, we'll go ahead and be prepared for that.
I do want to show one real quick. The signature we're seeing now there for that new tornado warning just northeast of Fraser. And again, we're still seeing those blues and whites, and that's showing you that somewhere this rotation has touched down and has picked up some of the stuff around it. So if you live there just northeast of Fraser, I'm gonna zoom in even closer. So Floyd Road, this is literally on your doorstep. Floyd Road, Joe Legg Road, that's for you. West Chicken Road, that's for you as well. Again, that's heading kind of northeast, and I'll get the how fast it's moving.
Yeah, you can see it on the new scan too.
It's moving at 50 miles an hour. So another one that's just zooming right on past. I'll give you a little bit of a track, see if I can give myself enough room this time to do it. I want you to pay attention to that small little thing right here. That is south and west of Dexter. So 50 miles an hour. I would include Roddy, which is in about a minute, so make sure you hunker down in your place, which is the most interior room of your house, if not the basement, or a storm shelter. Yonkers, you're at 421. Chester at 426. Alcorns, you're at 429. And Dexter, you're there at 433. So make sure that you are getting to your safest places. Now, Dublin is included in this track I have drawn, not the tornado warning. And like Ben and I have said throughout this stream, that once you get a little bit farther out, it becomes more uncertain. So places like Roddy, Chester, and Dexter, you are in this warning, and it should be on your doorsteps within the next few
Yeah,
days.
and Weather Service is confirming that far northwest Dodge against Bleckley County. Also, that tornado warning continuing Bleckley, Dodge, Lawrence, confirmed tornado located over Roddy, as Taylor just saying, near Cochran, moving northeast at 50. Also, we have damage in Macon County, Whitewater State Park, trees and power lines down at Whitewater Road and Highway 28. That just coming in. Frank, did you have something?
I just want to let, we were talking about the Bibb County schools. Rosa Taylor Elementary School, we received word there are power lines and poles down on Rosa Taylor Drive near Rosa Taylor Elementary School. Campus police are en route, and they are not allowed to dismiss the students at Rosa Taylor Elementary School right now until it's deemed safe. So again, some power lines down Rosa Taylor Drive near Rosa Taylor Elementary School, so they obviously can't let the kids go right now until they get the all clear, and that is just, as you said, and we're seeing power lines and things down in the Macon Bibb County area.
And we talked about what's out of Twiggs County right now. I didn't mean to shorten that damage report in Macon. That is something serious we want to check in. This just came past the radar site, and you can see clearly a notch going on here. This is Twiggs heading into Wilkinson County. I could go in and ask it some questions. I might get some crazy answers this close to the radar. Let's see. Yeah, you're seeing somewhere 70 plus maybe miles an hour stuff. It's still really close to the radar. As it gets a little bit away, maybe we'll get a better shot. But that means if you're in Wilkinson County, between Danville, Irwinton, Nicholsville area, this is the one that, let me see here. Yeah, there's a little bit of a debris signature with that. You can see it coming right past the radar, right there, picking some stuff up right there. So that either has touched down briefly or is in the process still of being on the ground. It looks like right as it was going underneath the radar there, it kind of flared up. Fortunately for us, it spared the radar, it looks like. So I'm going to do a velocity check again as we go around the horn. And we've had a lot of movement here recently. Things are moving fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you just might miss it. So here's a look at Lake Sinclair, already in the clear. This is heading into Hancock County towards Sparta, Milledgeville for the most part. There's nothing to worry about there. That's gone. Again, this one that is in Wilkinson County now is the one that's showing off the most. Also, let me go back to that one. That looks like a new scan. Let's see if that'll show us a little better. I do think something could be on the ground there. That is 96. Let's go in a little bit farther. We do street spotting, but again, by the time we get the new scan, and it may be already past this. Stuckey Road, Night Pond Road, it's moving at around 50 miles per hour. So the thing, it has some giddy up on it. And as we zoom out, the next stop's going to be crossing 441 probably within the next 10 minutes. So you know that in Twiggs County. Let me go down to this one right here that we did have a debris signature on a moment ago. It is broadened back out. Let's see if that's still there. Yep, it's still there. Yeah, clearly something touched down there. So this is northern Dodge County. There's debris in the atmosphere right there. So somewhere back here, it touched down and picked some stuff up. So there's Yonkers. We talk about that place at Christmas time a lot. There's Chester, and eventually heading on up to the Dexter area in a little bit. So there is debris, something at least right now, it doesn't look like a tight rotation, but at some point it did drop down, and it's a pretty impressive debris signature. So it did pick up some stuff right there. Let's see, trying to get updates from 1,000 places. I see debris back in Wilkinson County, it says Alex. Let's see here. Yeah, we were showing that one a moment ago. It's in the mess of all that color coming out of the radar cone here, but right in here. So running down 96 toward the east-northeast. And that's a new severe thunderstorm warning, I believe, that plopped down right there. So got a lot of stuff going on. So you have tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing. Let me go back to velocity mode here. And okay, so there's one tornado warning. That is still for Wilkinson County right here. Looks like, did the Baldwin County, that one did not fully expire. It's been trimmed back. That is in northern Baldwin, mainly Hancock County now. This tornado warning here, that goes for another few minutes. That one looks broad, doesn't look like a tight rotation. We do see some debris. There's a new tornado warning. Is it that one? Dodge, yep. Telfair, Wilcox until 5. That's coming out of Wilcox County, going into southern Dodge County and Telfair, parts of Telfair, so Chauncey area and south. This is riding again east-northeast. And again, it's not a screaming tight tornado signature, but the cell itself is rotating. And if I zoom the map out, I mean, look at this. You can see our area on down, just a slew of tornado warnings all the way down into the Albany area here, heading toward Tifton, crossing over 75. By the way, as I mentioned earlier, I-16 is not a good place to be right now. Pull over somewhere and go inside something. If you have us and you're listening on the phone or whatever it is, or on the radio somewhere, any of our streaming platforms there, do not be on I-16 anywhere near Lawrence County, eventually Trutland. The same thing. Twiggs County is probably kind of cleared that area now, but anywhere once you get past Jeffersonville, Danville exits on down, you don't want to be anywhere near this. Had one come over, you got more stuff about to come over, and then eventually another coming in just a little bit. Again, everybody that's off to the west of all this is in the clear. It is over for today, and then we hope for tomorrow's threat to not be so bad. Let's zoom in and go down the line again. This, I don't even see it at all anymore. Up here in Hancock County, that technically goes for another 5 minutes. I think that's going to fall off with no problem. Let's go on down. This one twigs into Wilkinson, all Wilkinson now. You can see a little bit of a couplet trying to get together right there, about to cross over 441. But this is the one, if I go over to the debris signature map, and you can see it. So again, it has touched down because there's debris in the atmosphere right here. Clearly something has happened there for a little bit, and this is par for the course. What we have seen today is these storms drop down for just a second. We heard, again, as if you're just joining us, what Frank said, which is what we talked about before it got to that hours. If the kids needed to stay in place, and thankfully Bibb County Schools kept them in place because there is debris and was it trees and power lines near Rosa Taylor Elementary?
Thornwood Drive, we're hearing, Ben.
Yeah,
in that area.
and the kids are in the school.
Yes.
And they're going to make sure everything's safe before they dismiss them.
Correct.
So if you're watching and no panic with this for sure. Everything's fine. They have it all under control. But they just want to make sure there's no trees and power lines and everything so the kids can safely go home. So good on them for keeping them in school until that came on through, because this was coming through right at release time for carpools and buses and all that. Here's the one that is in Wilcox County that is heading toward Rhine. This is moving into Dodge County in a little bit. It has somewhat of a signature to it here, crossing over 129 south and east of Abbeville. This is heading toward the whole intersection of 280, 117, 165 and Rhine. So this is all heading toward the east-northeast, and this will be leaving the Wilcox area here shortly. So you will be in the all clear within a handful of minutes here. Most of what is left now, if we do it from this map, is all eastern counties now. So anywhere to the east, to the right of this, is what's still under the gun for the next hour or two. Okay, looking at, sometimes I look at a different source here. Let's see. The rotation in Wilkinson County, I would say, is one of the more impressive ones. Again, they're still fairly broad on the whole, but as far as occasionally you'll see that one try to knot up just a little bit there. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, Taylor, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're going to track the debris signature now just through Chester, and this is for places right here. Chester, this is going through you right now. Still a very defined signature in Roland down to Chester. I'll take some of the lightning off so you can see what we're talking about. This is Highway 126 there. I'm going to zoom out and show you where all this is. So this is going from this corner right here from Chester into Alcorn, just like I was saying, into Lawrence County now. So it's just about to cross the Lawrence County line. A really big signature, meaning that we're seeing some debris lofted. I think this is still moving at 50 miles an hour, so I'm gonna put a track on this for you guys to show you where it would be. So it's really pacing itself throughout, but Chester, it's on your doorstep now. Alcorns, you're gonna see this in about 2 minutes. Dexter in about 5 to 7 minutes. Vincent at 4:40. Garetta at about 4:43. Now, Garetta, you are not in this warning, and neither are Dublin or East Dublin. But just to keep in mind that this has maintained a really big signature. Again, just showing how much we've seen some debris lifted up in the air.
Stuff. Thanks, Taylor. Also looking at this one here briefly here, and we're going to go over to Frank for a second. This is coming out of Wilcox County into Dodge. I was just looking at that one also with a little bit of a debris signature here. So again, as we said, these things have been touching down briefly, maybe even between radar scans. Again, one of these days where you go back and you look at the storm team survey stuff from the National Weather Service, and instead of straight lines showing where the path, it may be dotted lines where they just drop down, which is better than in a continuous path. But I think that's what we've been seeing with a lot of these storms. Okay, I think Ashland's live maybe somewhere, Frank, is that right?
Yeah, of course, we're now about 2 hours into continuous coverage with Ben and Taylor. We do have Ashlyn Webb out right now. She is in the storm lab trying to figure out where some damage is. Ashlyn, what have you seen as you're out and about right now?
Hey Frank, yeah, we've been on the road for about 5 minutes now. We just left the station. We've been driving down Riverside Drive. So far, a lot of water on the road. We've been driving, parallel to 75, and you can see a lot of water over there too. One thing is just people need to be driving slow. There's been a couple fast drivers that have passed by us, and it's some dangerous road conditions out here. I just spoke to Macon Bibb County spokesperson. Actually, we're hearing some sirens passing by us right now as we're driving down Riverside Drive. I just talked to county spokesperson Chris Floor. He told me that they are seeing some more damage in the Riverside Drive area, also Wimbish Road, Pierce Avenue area, trees down, power lines down as well. We're heading towards those areas now to get a look at that damage, and we'll update you guys once we get there. Frank?
All right, that's Ashlyn out in the Storm Lab. Yes, and just to reiterate what we said, we did have Thornwood Drive, which is near Rosa Taylor Elementary School. We understand that area was hit particularly hard. Wimbish and Forest Hill Road, as Ashlyn said. Also Marlow and Oxford Road in Bibb County. And, of course, crews are out assessing that damage right now. And as Ashlyn said, you have to be out right now. Very careful driving. We've had a ton of rain today, a lot of ponding on the roads, and, of course, staying safe. And, of course, Ben and Taylor, still tornado warnings out and about across central Georgia.
Yeah, it's still very active out there, and that's the one. Yeah, let's go in and talk about this one here. That is coming in out of Dodge. Yeah, this one is back on the ground, it looks like, possibly. This is going to be Lawrence County here, just crossing over the Dodge Crawford or Dodge Bleckley Lawrence County situation here, coming on across, kind of running north of 257, and we can take the warnings off on there, and let's do a thing to check for wind speed here. We're seeing some velocities in there, 60 to 70 miles per hour. It's definitely showing up a lot here on the velocity map. So this one is probably, just judging by the way things have looked today, when you see this, there'll be a debris signature to follow, not too far away. If that is in fact on the ground, then we'll look for debris signature in a little bit, and you'll see a ball of that stuff as you go off toward the east-northeast here. So that, we also, just a moment ago, there's so many of these things going on in the chat, that Wilkinson County tornado was confirmed already. As we go on up here, let's zoom us out here. That one really hard to find right now, but let's focus on this one. This one definitely is the one that is going to get your attention the most. So this is Lawrence County. Let's get you into play here with where Dublin is. Okay, so here's Dublin, and let me throw the warnings back on there so we can see the polygon. It's actually kind of displaced within the polygon.
A new one.
It's a new part of the cell. So that right there.
And also a new thunderstorm tornado warning right behind you.
The one that's over
in Caldwell.
Oh, Cadwell right there. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that goes for, that's another, is that a new tornado warning?
It is.
Wow, man, I'm trying to get these separated out here.
And now a new one for Hancock and Warren.
Okay, one at a time, please. So here, this is going into, this is leaving Dodge County. So Lawrence County technically has 2 tornado warnings right now. So that's going to be the one running south of 16. It is a broad rotation. This one's a little bit tighter here. It is running in the general direction toward Dublin. We'll see if maybe it weakens down some by the time it gets there. We'll see if it'll go broad like this one. That must be a delayed ding.
It
from
is.
Those other 2. Because I better say I never heard anything.
But the one in Dodge and Telfair is observed, so confirmed.
Dodge into Telfair down here. Yeah,
yes,
I had a
confirmed.
feeling about that one, because that one we're seeing. There's a.
Not really the best, but also it is very far away, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, it's far away from the radar, so we're probably not going to get a good shot of that. This one that we were just showing you that's got a tight rotation, obviously that has touched down, because there is a debris signature right there. Again, I can't stress enough, do not be on I-16 right now. Anywhere in Lawrence County, there is no reason to be there, because if this has this continual look across, that is a bad thing to run into this mamma jamma coming down the interstate, and it's flying across the interstate at 50 miles an hour, possibly on the ground a little bit with some debris signature right here. So that's between Dexter and Dudley. This will be coming across 16. Maybe it stays underneath Dublin. We'll have to see. Let me kind of back it up and go forward and kind of get an idea. It looks like it's heading generally in the direction of Dublin. So again, we won't panic. We just do the thing, we practice in centermost room away from the windows. More than likely everything's going to be just fine, and let it come on through quickly, and maybe it'll pull back up into the cloud and not even be on the ground as it comes across. So that one, let's see, we've had the debris signature in Wilkinson County earlier. Let me go back to velocity mode. That one, and let's touch on this one for a second. Hancock County, you can barely see anything with that, and it won't be much longer. This is going to be out of our area. So Sparta, I'm sure you have a lot of wind coming through with this right now. This is making its way toward the east-northeast and should be out before long and on into Warren County. Let's go on down, and you can see severe thunderstorm warnings in yellow, but obviously the ones you're paying the most attention to are those tornado warnings. This one for another 10 minutes in Wilkinson County. Got to be honest, I can't find it. You could back here, bottom left of your screen, and then it's just kind of gone. And that's the way these go in this kind of situation here. As we go into Lawrence County, again, 2 tornado warnings. And if you trace them back to right there, you can see when it was really, and there's a debris signature through here, to the point where it's lofted, and it may even, you could find some of the stuff on I-16 after this passes on through. It is generally heading toward the Dublin area. The latest scan, as we go now, good news for Dubliners, is that it has broadened out a good bit. So hopefully it stays that way. And when I say broadened out, I mean that it's not doing its tornado kind of thing, all right? It's kind of widened out. The whole storm is rotating, but it's not I wouldn't say a tornado on the ground at this point. So hopefully this will be the trend as it moves on through Lawrence County, and it'll be something that's at least a wind maker, but not anything that is all that bad. We'll continue to watch for that as we go farther down, leaving Cadwell underneath Rents here. This is for the southern half of Lawrence County. This is also very broad here, but somewhere in this general area there could be rotation at any given time that could tighten up a little bit. And that really is the overall theme of the day, is that all of these cells within the line have been steadily rotating the whole way for hours now. But just occasionally a tornado will drop down enough on the ground just for a little bit and pick stuff up. And we've seen that on the debris signatures. We definitely know, confirmed, that there have been tornadoes on the ground today.
I would like to say, just real quick, Ben, that the one in Lawrence County is confirmed. The one that is just north of Dexter, that is a confirmed tornado.
Gotcha. Frank, what do you have?
Yeah, Robin Parker with Piedmont Hospital called, said the only way to get to Piedmont Northside ER right now is by Forsyth Road. There are various ways. You can't get there off Forest Hill or anything like that. So if you're trying to get to Piedmont Northside ER, you're going to have to go Forsyth Road. Speaking of Forsyth Road, received word a power out at Janine's restaurant, and possibly something damaged their sign on Forsyth Road. So just that whole North Macon area. But again, if you're trying to get to Piedmont Northside ER, you're going to have to get there by Forsyth Road right now. All right, Ben, back to you and Taylor.
What an absolute mess. And that's what we were afraid of when that was coming across, because you could see that there was some sort of touchdown for a little bit, a debris signature. Once you see that, you know there's at least going to be some power outages, but hopefully nothing worse than that. All right, so as Taylor mentioned, confirmed tornadoes, and we've had a handful of them today, but the one in, I guess you were talking about the one that was...
The teeny one.
The teeny one, yeah. And we're seeing the debris, look at the debris signature.
It's very
with
defined.
That one. Yeah. So once again, if you know anybody that's running up and down I-16, this may even be a delayed map right now. This is highly dangerous to be right along through here. Yeah, okay, we'll be ready for them. When you say 2 minutes? I think so. Okay, so heading toward the Dublin area. Good news though, hold on a second, Dublin. Let's not panic though, because this is mainly a broad rotation for now. This is debris that's in the atmosphere from when it touched down earlier, picked stuff up and it's in the air. Maybe tree limbs, stuff like that and everything. But for the time being, as far as it being on the ground, because I don't want anybody to panic, is a broad circulation, which means it's not that tight circulation that picked all that stuff up. So hopefully it'll stay like this as it continues on across. Something that only attention you would pay to it would be that there's some gusty winds out there, and that's about that. So at least the good news with these today, if they did touch down, it's been briefly, and then they come back up again. So I don't want you to look at one and think, oh, no, you know, it's just running right. It could pull right back up and just within a minute and be out of your hair. So we're trying to look at the positive side to this as it comes across. And right now I don't see anything that would be just screaming that it's on the ground. out of the 4 tornado warnings. Okay, Chris Floor with Macon Bibb County. How are you this afternoon, sir?
Doing well, sir, Ben. Thanks for being on the air this long.
Oh, no. Yeah, this is not the kind of afternoon any of us want to have. I couldn't help but tell when that cell came through the Macon area there. We've seen debris signatures. We already talked about Rosa Taylor, Forest Hill Road, some other places like that. Give us whatever you want to say. What do you know?
I'd say if people need to report damage, trees down, power lines down, we need them to call 833-535-4362, or if it's an emergency, call 911. I will say our initial damage reports that have been coming into our emergency management agency show that a lot of it seems to be in that Riverside, Wimbish area, like you mentioned. We know roads are blocked in that area, and we have crews either on the scene or on the way to the different areas. So if you are able to avoid the Forest Hill, Wimbish Road between Vineville and Riverside area, it might be best to avoid that area for now.
So are we talking like power lines along roads, those kind of things that need to be cleared up? You know,
it's a variety. We've got about 10 power lines reported and about a dozen trees down reports, but they are constantly coming in.
How about home damage reports? Have you had that? Or structural damage?
We've had a report of at least one house that has a tree on it at the moment, so we're making sure we get the right agencies there. But we just need people to call it in so we know where to properly dispatch. As you know, in our Emergency Operations Center, we do have representatives from Sheriff and Fire, so we can quickly dispatch as those calls come in.
All right, gotcha. Trying to think of anything while we have Chris on, Frank, the newsman. Anything that we're forgetting to ask him for right now?
No,
you're sometimes better with questions than I am.
Just reiterating that number again.
Yeah, what was it again?
That number is for non-emergency items, whether it's trees down, power lines down, even traffic lights that aren't working. Call 833-535-4362, and of course for emergencies, call 911.
Okay. All right, good deal. Chris, let's stay in touch. I mean, obviously you have my number. Text me if anything comes about and we need to get it on the air. If you see something that's running into a bigger problem that's going to last a while that people need to stay away from. But thanks for the time. I know you guys are busy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
All right, see you, man. Ashlyn?
Yeah, we do. I think Ashlyn is in that area that Chris was just talking about, Riverside Drive, Wimbish Road, and Forest Hill. She's out in the storm lab right now. All right, Ashlyn, what are you seeing as you continue to travel in that affected area?
Yeah, right now, Frank, right now I'm on Riverview Road. I'm driving down. You can just see a ton of damage. I'm going to flip the camera around really quick so you guys can take a look. Right now you can see a power, we can see a truck working on the line right now. We see some trees down. There's a tree in a front yard, just a ton of pine straw in the road right now. Definitely drive careful in these areas. There's some power lines even in the road above, you can see just ahead of me. But we've been driving around this neighborhood around Emerson River Park for the last 5 minutes or so. We're not seeing any structural damage, but we are seeing several trees down, several lines down, and like Chris Floor said, you know, a ton of damage in this area around Piers Avenue, Emerson River Park. We're going to continue to drive around this area just to see what other damage is in this area, but we'll report back to you guys soon once we see more.
All right, Ashlyn, thanks very much. To continue. And again, one more time, that number that Chris Floor and Macon Bibb gave out, if you have damage or you see damage in your area, it's 833-535-4362, 833-535-4362. Of course, it's an emergency. Call 911. All right, things unfortunately are still firing up out there, Ben and Taylor, but hopefully starting to calm down a little as it moves through the viewing area.
Yeah, that's the hope. At least looking at some stuff here. We talked to Chris Floor a moment ago, even seeing Spencer Hawkins, our EMA director, here in the chat. Just a little more specific, maybe getting damage reports in for the Midtown area of our county. Trees down, power lines down, traffic signals non-operational. Boundaries are Rivoli from Wesleyan Woods to Napier and moving east through Wimbish Road across I-75 to the Ocmulgee River. I see that Wilkinson County tornado and the Lawrence County tornado warning have expired, so the map should look a little bit cleaner, right? It says in the chat, but I don't see those gone yet. I guess they said they were. Let's see. Well, that goes until 4:45.
They may just drop them as the time
It'll
comes
fall
up.
off, is what they're saying. Yeah. All right. So that's good news. We're about to lose half of our tornado warnings. Even better news, folks in Dublin. I was showing you that debris signature. I don't see much of anything here now, so keep doing whatever you're doing. It's working. This down through here is staying broad. and not tightening up. This in Wilkinson, I don't see anything with it anymore other than some straight line winds. Same thing with Dodge going into Telfair. So hopefully this is a good sign. All of them seem to be broadening out and weakening at the same time. We'd like to see that to be a trend there. But there is, all right, so they took off that part. That just happened from Cadwell. That's been erased. This is the remainder until 5 o'clock. So 15 minutes left on that one through Lawrence County. And then I think it's this one is the one that's going to drop, and this one. So we'll be left with Lawrence County and Dodge into Telfair, those two. And I'm trying to remember, let me get down to that. Okay, so they're both going to be till 5 o'clock. Oh, there goes the other ones. All right, well, that helps a lot because that just took off a lot of red box stuff. So we're looking at Lawrence County, Dodge into Telfair, the only 2 tornado warnings we have, and that's only for another 15 minutes. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Wilkinson into Washington County. I don't see anything rotating, but there's some straight line winds here that are going to make themselves known. Sandersville and all the way down to Wrightsville maybe as well. And as we go on down outside of our area, but just to show you again, it's been kicking it in a lot of places. Albany Market down through Tifton, crossing over 75. Once again, this one has already crossed 16. This one is about to. Still do not be on I-16 as this is coming through. And eventually later, if it holds or has anything to it, this one going from Telfair Wheeler, by the time it gets on, it'll be way on down the road, crossing over 16 as well. So far, so good with that. Let's see if any of those, that's still that debris signature in Lawrence County. That is wild. So whatever that was, newsroom, that picked up right here in northern Dodge, Bleckley into western parts of Lawrence County is still aloft. That debris still may even fly over Dublin here. It's worth a shot. Take a look at the Dublin Skycam and see if we see anything falling. I doubt you'd see much, but maybe trying to turn around and look toward the south and west in the Dublin Skycam. But as far as the other debris signatures, I don't see any of those anymore. Well, I'll take that back. That's nope. But that's impressive. That was that long ago, and this is still showing up right here. So again, it was so brief too. I mean, it touched down for just a little bit and then just picked up a lot of stuff all at one time. Let's go down and take a look at this one. You're not going to see much here when you get this far away. Let's go back to the big picture. How about this? Time for an all clear. This is the big picture, which shows light rain still left over for a good chunk of our area, and that's about it. As we go anywhere to the right of my hand here now, so we only really have the eastern parts of Lawrence County, Washington County, getting into Johnson, then Trutland, Telfair, Wheeler to get this on out. So another 30 minutes or so, and most of this should be gone. All right, the number apparently we just had on our screen for Macon Bibb was wrong. 833-535-4362. Yeah. Was it not right up on the screen? Check those lower thirds in there, guys. Make sure that phone number for 535-4362. We had 478-833-4362 apparently. So we need to change that number if we show that again on air for folks in the Macon Bibb County area to call in for damage or trees down power lines, that kind of thing. It was one big severe thunderstorm warning that looks like how they're going to finish this out coming across here from Johnson, Trutland, Eastern Lawrence, Telfair, Wheeler counties. That would not hurt my feelings at all. If this drops at 5 and that drops at 5 and we're left with one parting severe thunderstorm warning to get this on out of here, that would be just fine. But anything that is off to the west of this, everybody, you're all done. There's no other severe threat. I know. However, there is a threat for tomorrow. We are in a level 2, or 3, I should say, for tomorrow. Originally, it was mainly just for the Atlanta area. Today, they stretched it on down into our area for storms that can kind of develop through the heat of the day today or tomorrow. And I will show you that while we have a little lull in the action to see how this looks with future view. It shows this stuff getting on out of here again soon. And then tonight things quiet down. We go into a lull. We get into tomorrow, lunchtime, maybe a shower, maybe a thunderstorm. It looks like by the time we get into around 1, 2 o'clock, could have a few storms firing. Again, it doesn't mean that all these are some sort of tornadic thing. We may have to keep an eye on some of them to see how this rolls. At least maybe some gusty winds with it. This is around 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow night as we go forward into 7, 8 o'clock, and then I think that's probably pretty much it, except for maybe some leftover stuff that may fly through late tomorrow night as rain, and then the actual cold front that will put an end to all this is what comes in late tomorrow night into Thursday, and that'll end the severe threat. So we'll have more on that as we go through tonight. Again, it doesn't mean that tomorrow is going to be just like it was today. It just means that there's a somewhat elevated severe threat again for tomorrow. So let's take a look at the tornado parameters here for tonight. This is going to be your zones of best potential for that. Obviously, this lines up with where we are now. As we go forward, you can see that overnight tonight, obviously we're not really expecting anything anyway, but as we get into tomorrow, it's kind of a similar shading, light colors out there, which just means I think we could have maybe a brief spin up in a couple of spots with that. Tries to show more color tomorrow night. I think that's just saying that the conditions would be favorable if you were to have a thunderstorm in that vicinity, but I don't expect much of anything by the time we get that into that time frame. So let's go right back to where we were with the big radar shot. And again, those 2 tornado warnings for Lawrence County, leaving Dodge into Telfair, they go for another 9 minutes. Getting some pictures of damage in here in the Macon area. A lot of tree limbs down, looks to be the majority of stuff here. There's a tree limb through a roof. We'll be passing all these along. I can't show them to you now, but let me check another source here for velocity. It's really great news right now that these 2 tornado warnings that we have are very broad at this point. So again, what that means is we're not seeing anything that's rotating tightly. For the first time today, we're well, I mean, we've seen this look today, but as far as like, you know, for a long amount of time without seeing it tighten back up, we haven't seen that much. So this is a good sign. It comes across through Trutland County over the next handful of minutes, and then that'll ride off toward the east. These other storms, the other tornado warning, again goes until 5, and that is, let's see, that's not the one I wanted. Did the other one fall off?
It dropped.
It did? Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Okay, so we're only left with the one then. This one right here in Lawrence County. Obviously Dublin, for the most part, I guess you kind of dodged this. No pun intended, Dodge County, but this has mainly been a wind threat here, but the rotation was here south and east of Dublin. This is about to cross over once again over I-16, so no reason to be there. All the other stuff as far as tornado things are in the southern part of the state underneath us. So, all right. Let's zoom back out. That's the only one I see. Let me check in on that debris signature just in case again, because we were still seeing it's still there. That is pretty amazing. Crossing over I-16 underneath Dublin, debris signature still showing up from stuff it picked up back here, leaving Dodge County into Lawrence County. So obviously there was a touchdown, and this is over I-16 now, running underneath Dublin. So debris signature still for that long. That is definitely lofted up there. We've seen a handful of those today. Let's do a big look at the whole thing, and then I think, what's the plan maybe to start us up at 5? Because I will be somewhat warningless by the time we get into that. Okay, gotcha. So if you have any sort of pictures, there's that damage number for Bibb County, Macon Bibb. If you have any trees down, power lines, things of that nature, so that they can put you in the queue and put it in the list of things to get to. It was that number that was at the bottom of your screen. Our 13WMAZ Facebook page is a great place. If you're in our 13WMAZ Weather Network page, where people will usually put sunsets and things of that nature, you can put that stuff in there. Obviously, if it's safe. If you're in one of these areas where there are power lines laying around, you don't want to walk on power lines. You don't know if they're hot, and that is a tragic mistake, so stay away from all that stuff. But if it's safe to do so, you can put those pictures there. You can use the Near Me app or the Near Me feature on our app, and you can click and upload photos that way. Then I think, what was the other? We have 752-1309, and then news at 13WMAZ.com. And we're trying to find 10 or 15 other ways that you can send pictures to us, and I think we'll eventually get that. So here's the big look, and as we do an all clear for those who are all clear, again, it's not much fun when you know you still have another, what was that? What was the last thing? Did you hear that? Mm-mm. I got you. Okay. When you know you have another round coming tomorrow, hopefully not bad, but at least this is all clear for tonight, and that is anything to the west of this line. Still out here is where the potential still is for some storms to continue. But again, the good news is we're not seeing anything rotating on a narrow scale. We're seeing some wide rotation out there, broad, but that you're going to see these storms spin like that regardless of whether there's a tornado. And again, you can see that with these storms as they've been coming across. Watch the ones here. I mean, look at that. You can just see the whole rotation within the cell here. And then there's another one right there. And then, of course, up the line, same one that came through Macon earlier. Yeah, Taylor.
I want to say, just like you were saying, that we're starting to see that kind of drop off as it moves by. Our tornado watch has started to drop off for those counties. So the tornado watch has dropped off from Monroe, Upson, Crawford, Taylor, Peach, and Macon County.
Did they just issue a new tornado warning?
Yep, they did. That's a new one.
Great.
Okay,
Lawrence
that goes
to
for
Johnson. Right?
Yes, so let me pull it up on my side. Again, that tornado watch has been cleared for a lot of our western counties. We have a new tornado warning now. That's for South Lawrence County going through I-16. There goes the beeps now, but that is our new tornado warning right now. I'll pull up the, yeah, you can kind of see the broad rotation just right along I-16. Like been saying all day, it's not
Northern Lawrence.
Northern
going
Lawrence.
into Johnson County is the
Gotcha.
new. Yeah, there's the new one.
There's
right
the
there.
new one. Yes, that was the older one. Still, you can see some broader rotation with that one too. But this one is a new one. Bruceton down to into Kite. So that's our newest one going right now for Johnson and Lawrence.
Yeah. Okay. And that'll be leaving Lawrence County pretty soon through Bruton right there. So that'll go underneath Wrightsville probably. So if you're in the Wrightsville area, you do have parts of severe thunderstorm warnings all around you, but the circulation may stay south. As it goes on through. Let me get on over to that one right there, and you can see the couplet there trying to get going right around Highway 319 heading toward Lovett. So again, not terribly impressive, but obviously something going on with this right through here. So this is moving into Johnson County. That one will go until 5:30. And of course, you know, we'll continue to follow that for any new information if we can find it. I don't see it a very tight rotation, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Dublin, you're in the clear. This last little bit, you have two tornado warnings in Lawrence County, both about to exit. Again, it's this one going into Johnson County and this one leaving, heading into Trutland County. But it looks like it's going to stay north of Soperton. Let me go on down the line here. Could just be some blips in the pixels here, but and then as we head down to Telfair and everything, it looks just like straight line winds with all of this. But as soon as I said it, there is the new tornado warning for Trutland County. So they did, that's what they did. They just have taken some of these and stretched them out. So this is what would have expired at 5, now goes till 5:30. You'll hear the ding in just a second. This is for Johnson, about 45 seconds of Lawrence County, but then it goes into, let's see, I'm all turned around now, in Trutland County and parts of Johnson. So you have these two. Again, they're broad. This one's a little bit tighter right here. This is heading into Johnson County here. But that's the two tornado warnings that we have now. Everything else is a severe thunderstorm warning. And again, those severe thunderstorm warnings have been putting 60-mile-per-hour winds down. So even if it's not rotating, at the very least, it's straight line winds. And even those can do some damage. And as we've been reporting throughout the afternoon, there have been damaged areas in a few spots, even going way back to Alabama. They've had trees down, power lines, limbs down, all that kind of stuff, and we've been seeing the same thing with this. Again, the fortunate thing is that a lot of these have been intermittent touchdowns. The cells themselves have been nonstop rotating all the way through in a broad sense. But then occasionally you would get a little touchdown in some spots, and we have seen those debris signatures, which means that obviously it has come down, some stuff has popped up, usually little stuff, picked up maybe some limbs, things like that, some roof shingles, something like that, and then that'll go aloft, something especially light that it can carry for a while. And so we have seen that confirmed in a few spots. So that's better than a long track tornado. If you ever hear us talk about those are the ones that get down on the ground and they don't want to get back up. They are down and they run. For many, many miles, and you'll see the track, I'm not pinpointing one spot, but you see a track like come all the way across when you look at the overall survey after the thing is done, when the National Weather Service goes and looks at that. With these, you're probably going to see just like little broken lines and dots where they've come across and just touched down, which makes it difficult, I think, for the survey teams when they go out because they have a bunch of different spots they're having to look at, and there's a bunch of skipped areas and then you'll have to go again. So that's why your reports are so important when they come in. Pictures you have, all those things, detailing where it is, highway, intersections, those kind of things. All that stuff eventually makes its way back and can help them come survey your spots wherever you are. So it's all one big network. It's not just so we can show pictures on TV. There's a bigger purpose to a lot of this sometimes, and it all goes downstream to where it needs to go. So that's the last 2 tornado warnings for now. Of course, we're going to continue to watch these, and if I need to pop back on in a little bit, I will. If we get new information, Frank, Lori, in case we do, it'll be Johnson, Trutland counties if we see things tighten back up again. For right now, though, it looks like we're going to toss things over to you, and I think we're going to start the 5 o'clock show. Is that correct? Would you like to take the baton?
Certainly we will.
I guess we will. Yes, we can go on over to Frank and Lori. We're going to continue to watch these other 2 right here if we can and let them begin. And if we need to jump back in when we get new information in just a little bit, we will.
All right, again, we've been going now for over 2.5 hours now. Seeing damage reports from Lori, if you've seen it from Crawford County, Taylor County, Macon County, Bibb County, Baldwin County, and Houston County. And right now, we are seeing power outages right now, Lori.
Yeah, Flint Energy is reporting 22 power outages impacting more than 3,800 people in their service area. Now, you can see on this map, the area most impacted is north of Butler and Reynolds in Taylor County. There's also a lot of outages around Montezuma, both north and west of Macon County.
Georgia Power reports as of a little while ago, more than 6,200 customers impacted. That number could have grown, especially in the Macon area. We're hearing reports of power lines down at Riverside Drive, Wimbish Road, and Forest Hill. In the North Macon area, seeing a lot of power outages. We're getting a lot of pictures also in, and we're seeing damage reports coming from around the area here in central Georgia. This is Whitewater Park. That's in Macon County. That's an area we've heard that was hit pretty hard right there, and you see another picture right there of Whitewater Park in Macon Bibb County.
Now this is off of 128 in Roberta. You can see the damage left there. Some folks out there maybe surveying, trying to pick things up. This is Statham's Landing in Warner Robins. It looks like a tree has been toppled over, and this is South Matthews Street in Roberta. Submitted by Troy Cook. Thanks a lot, Troy. You know, a lot of times what we see in severe situations like this, even if there isn't a tornado, you know, the winds and the saturated ground will have toppling trees. So, you know, it's still a situation we need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, this is Crestline Drive area this is near Rosa Taylor Elementary School. It's not Road Taylor, it's Rosa Taylor Elementary School in Macon, and that was an area particularly hard hit right now. And this is Old Hawkinsville Road. That is Highway 96, Jacob Peacock power line down.
In Twiggs County, this is off of Highway 96. Check out that shelf cloud. Wow, that is a pretty impressive sight there. This is from Tracy Jackson. Thank you, Tracy. Make sure you stay safe. Also in Crawford County, Mr. Russell. Oh my goodness. I hope this isn't your car. Looks like a tree on top of the car here. So, you know, we can replace things, we can't replace people. So hopefully everyone is okay. And see along the road here, we see, you know, again, the damage, the wet roads and so forth.
All right, let's toss back now to Chief Meteorologist Ben Jones and Meteorologist Taylor Stephenson. What do you have for us?
Yeah, what we're going to do is just step in occasionally, and then I'll hand it back to y'all, because I know there's a lot of useful information that needs to go to people in some of these damage areas. But I just wanted to just touch in so that if you're in the Johnson, Trutland County areas, we have not forgotten about you. We're just shuffling so much information at one time. This is a broad rotation, almost unnoticeable. Going into Johnson County, I think it's still going to be windy coming through, and then this here, kind of clipping the top of Trutland County, which will be out of your hair here before long. So I just want to let you know we still don't see anything that is grabbing our attention. So if we'll probably check back in over the next few minutes, just every once in a while until these things have gone through, guys.
Of course, we've been having teams tracking storms and damage across central Georgia. Ashlyn Webb, she took out the storm lab. She is in North Bibb County right now. And Ashlyn, what are you seeing out there?
Yes, Lori, we were driving down Riverside Drive when we got a report of a tree that crashed into a home. I'm actually going to turn the camera around so you guys can check this out. If you look over to the left, we're driving up on it right now, you can see a fire truck out and that tree that just crashed into a home. Now we are off of Lee Road. This is right off of Riverside Drive, so Lee Road near Cowan Road. We're seeing a lot more damage in this area. just trees down, power lines down. Just a couple minutes ago, we were on the other side of I-75 where we saw several power lines down, several trees down. A lot of the time when we were driving through these neighborhoods, we would have to stop and turn around just because there were so many roads blocked. There were so many power trucks out and just different utility trucks out trying to get to these areas. So drive safe out there. But we will continue to monitor the area and drive up and down Riverside Drive just to see some more damage in the area. Lori, back to you.
Okay, thanks so much, Ashlyn Webb, out there in the storm lab in North Bibb County. Be safe. We're hearing a lot of, slow going out there because so many trees are down and a lot of power companies trying to restore power. So, if you don't have to go outside, probably a good idea to stay inside.
Definitely right now. And we're hearing damage we've been talking about near Rosa Taylor Elementary School in North Bibb County. Kalisha Moore is out in that area. Kalisha, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so Frank, out here, I'm out by Victoria Circle and off King Alfred Drive. That's just about half a mile down from Thornwood Drive where a lot of damage has been caused. People are telling me that trees have falling on several houses. They're saying at least 10. Now, I did get a chance to speak to a couple of people out here on the scene. I spoke with the Macon Bibb Fire Department, who told me they have crews of at least 10 coming out here with chainsaws and assessing the damage. They say as of right now, there haven't been any injuries, but they are still surveying the property. Now, over here just to my left, it is one of those houses that did suffer some damages. You can see a tree coming from the ground. It has been uprooted and it's currently tangled in those power lines that could or could not be live. We're really not sure. They're still checking out. And around me, I see some Georgia Power crews. They're coming out here to still take care of that damage. I also had a chance to speak with the homeowner of that property. He says he heard a noise and all of a sudden there was just a tree crashing through what he said was his den. He says he went out to assess the damage and it wasn't that bad, but he could still tell that there's a lot that is going to be fixed in the area. And I did again speak to some crews who say, you should be careful when you're driving in the area. Make sure you pay attention. Make sure you are making sure that you're looking around and checking your location. And that's about what all I see out here for now, Frank and Lori. I'm going to send it back to you in the studio, guys.
All right, Kalisha, be safe out there. Thanks very much for that update on what's happening in that particular area.
Another update here coming out of Twiggs County. The Public Information Officer, EMA Public Information Officer, Judy Sherling, says State Route 96 in Jeffersonville is closed from I-16 to Prospect Road, and that includes Academy Drive. So I-16 to Prospect Church Road, including Academy Drive, that's a real busy area, Academy Sports and so forth. So that's an area you're definitely going to want to avoid. They're saying multiple trees are down, power lines are down, and in a situation like this, when you have those power lines down, they're very dangerous. So you want to stay away from State Route 96 in Jeffersonville, from I-16 to Prospect Church Road.
All right, Ben and Taylor, back to you now for an update on what's happening right now.
Okay, yeah. These two tornado warnings here. And again, I have good news to report because I don't see anything that's really showing up much at all. Occasionally we'll see a little bit of a couplet coming over 16 here in Trutland. The stuff in Johnson County, I can't find a thing with some of this. I mean, it's just kind of washed out, which is great news. You want to see this kind of thing here. Occasionally you'll get a little bit of a notch in there. I still think we need to treat it like it is. It's a tornado warning, which still goes until 5:30. But these things are running pretty fast and they'll be out of here before long. Outside of that, the only other thing that I saw that was noteworthy a moment ago was from, how long has that been? An hour ago? That stuff came through. That tornado debris signature again. And you can see where, I'm trying to see, where did it originate? Right there. Getting into Dodge County. This is where the touchdown happened on this one. In Dodge County, northern Dodge, and you can see it pick stuff up right there. So this is debris lofted in the atmosphere, coming across. It's still up, going across I-16, underneath Dublin, and even just recently, there were still pieces of it washing out in the atmosphere. I think it's pretty much gone now as it makes its way into Johnson County. That's a pretty amazing. Of course, some of this technology we haven't had forever, but just to be able to see this, the debris in the air and know there's probably little light stuff out there, but just to see how far this stuff goes. There's the big picture again for everybody. Nearly the entire area is clear now except for some rain. The severe threat is gone except for Johnson, Trutland, and a piece of Wheeler County, and that's about it. Taylor.
I did want to say, while Ben all the stuff we're going on, we do have another round of severe storms as well, and that could really bring some really heavy rainfall. I just want to show you what we've been seeing already now in our rainfall totals. If we zoom in there near Milledgeville, Gray, Forsyth, Eatonton, we're talking, and I'll give you the little look at it, just north of Eatonton in the past, really maybe 6 hours, 4.5 inches of rain. Stuff like that can cause flash flooding. And like I said, we do have another round of severe weather coming for tomorrow, where we are in a level 3 out of 5 risk once again. Not really the same setup, but still the potential for severe storms. And again, once we have multiple days with, 3 to 5 inches of rain, flash flooding will also become a possibility.
Yeah, you got that right. That's right. That's another shoe to drop later on, river levels, things like that as we go through heading toward the weekend as well. So that's it for now. Johnson and Trutland, and this will be gone before long, but we'll check in back on those in a little bit. And I think we're going back to you guys. Maybe Molly's ready.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ben and Taylor, keeping an eye on those rainfall totals.
Yeah, we are getting damage reports from all around the area. Houston County, too, has been hard hit in certain areas, and that's where we find Molly Jett.
That's right, I'm here at Statham Landing here in Warner Robins near the base, and as you can see here, this is something we noticed as soon as we got here. Some of the tornado debris scattered across the street, and it's pretty active. We've seen several emergency responders come up and down this road, but I wanted to take you over to where we're standing, which is in front of Miss Patricia Marshall's front yard. She says she's lived here for about a year, and she was home when this happened. So, Miss Patricia, what was this like for you to be home and hear this?
Very scary. It was very windy because my house was full of windows. We have a lot of windows, and it was shattering, and you see the truck back came off the truck, and something was hitting the back of the house, and it was really scary. And you see all the debris out here. So
Of course. And she lives just nearby the base, and so she said sirens were going off, and you were telling me that the wind has pushed your husband's truck a little bit, right?
Yeah, the whole back of you see the back end is open. It opened that. Yeah, I haven't looked around the back to see what was moved around, but I came out here to kind of see what was going on once the wind died down.
Now, how fast did this take place? I can see that a lot of this debris has scattered across your front yard. So how fast do you think this happened?
4 o'clock and till maybe 4:10 or 4:15. I mean, we saw it coming because it sounded like hail at first. I mean, it was that strong and it was hitting that hard. So, yeah, it was really scary. And I was like, okay, let's hurry up and get into a shelter. You know, we got a little area for a shelter. And that's what we did so far. And I just came out here to kind of see what was going on and see what the damage was.
But you all are okay, and you all got home safely from work?
Fine. We're all fine. We just want to see what the damage are, to assess the damage around here, and that's it. That's it. But
I also saw some of your neighbors out here too. Some of them were out here. They came out to check on you and each other. But yes, this had just come in shortly after, and as you can see, this storm debris, we came in and we saw a couple of downed branches at the front of the neighborhood. They had crashed over someone's front fence, but we have not scouted the rest of the neighborhood. It looks like emergency responders are still scouting, so I haven't been able to see what they're looking at right now, but we have heard there is some damage closer to the golf course, but we are in Warner Robins. And if you take a look, there's a house entirety fire truck headed down the street right now. So as you can see, this is just what the scene looks like right now. It's still drizzling outside. It's not as windy, but as Patricia said, it was windier earlier today. And as you can see, there's still some debris out in the front yard. There's some leaves here. We've got more trucks headed down. We've seen several, more than a dozen at least, but they're all still scouting in the area. And again, we're in Houston County, Warner Robins, and if you're just joining us, we are in front of a woman's home. She was here when this wind and everything happened. She said she and her family went ahead and took each other inside of their basement and took cover. She said her front yard, front of her house has a lot of glass, so she worried that her glass was going to shatter, but her house is intact and they are okay. And I guess you could say, sure, you went in. Yeah.
Our laundry room, because we don't have any place that doesn't have windows.
And you said your neighbor has. You said your neighbor has a bunker.
Yes.
Okay. And I guess with all of this happening right now, we have checked in with EMA directors in Houston County, and at this moment in Houston County, they are still surveying the area, whether that is Bon Air, Warner Robins, and so forth. But as I told you at the beginning, there was downed trees over a fence, and so far we're still seeing many cars go throughout the county. So stay with us. I will be back at 6 o'clock. Back to you, Frank and Lori. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Molly. And of course, Ms. Patricia, she talks about the windows rattling and so forth. And, just what Taylor and Ben were saying, when those warnings come out, you have to get to an interior place in your home away from those windows, because that can be a scary situation.
All right, Ben and Taylor, back to you. I believe we're getting a check-in from Bleckley County right now.
Yeah, well, we are. They came across through the Bleckley County area. Matt Kelly, Bleckley County EMA, joining us now. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Ben. How are you?
Doing okay. Everything all right in Bleckleyville?
We're sorting it out right now. We definitely do have some tornadic damage to a couple of homes on the Old Eastman Highway area. One home with the roof completely taken off and placed in the wood line. And then another house that looks like it has damage to the front porch. It may have been taken off of it also. We're still assessing the area and just responding to different things, such as trees down and power lines down at this time.
I was going to ask you, how are you doing on power lines, power outages, countywide?
County, we did have some outages. Do have crews working on that. Still getting that information in as far as seems like the most condensed area was going to be Dodge County, Bleckley County line in this Rada community area.
Well, and really, I was looking back. We take Max 2 here, and I can show you. I was looking back at the history of the cell, actually, that is in Truitland County right now. And you can see it when it was in the Bleckley County area. And I've told the newsroom we're en route to check on this. But as soon as, Matt, it left your area, right when it got into Yonkers kind of area in northern Dodge, right on the Dodge Bleckley Lawrence line, it touched down and then picked up some debris there. So I guess it was, if you were to see any of that in your area, it'd be that one little weird offshoot of Bleckley County that goes right there at northern Dodge. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
There's probably even a nickname for it, maybe the Arrow, I don't know. But anyway, so that's a spot where it looks like there was a touchdown there. Anything else information-wise to any residents of Bleckley that you'd like to pass along?
Not at the time. If they do have any damage, to call me on my cell phone and report that damage so we can see if we can get them some assistance. Talking to the homeowners here where the house was severely damaged, they said it was extremely quick. Like the storm seemed like they were moving very rapidly through. It was hit and it was gone pretty quick is what they explained it to me.
You got to love an EMA director.
Moving.
You got to love an EMA director that says, you got anything, call my cell phone. So do we have a number for you, Matt?
It's 478-230-7300.
All right, everybody in Central Georgia, call him at the same time, real quick.
Yeah,
no, I'm
call
kidding.
me,
No,
report your damage. I'll direct your call somewhere else.
Right, yeah, I'm sure. Let's get that number one more time, Matt. We were trying to get that on a graphic.
Sure, it's 478-230-7300. We'd like to get all the storm damage reported so we can take care of things as we can. All
right, seriously, everybody leave that line open only for people who need it there. But Matt, thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Y'all take care.
All right, thank you.
See you, bye. All right, so while I still have the stage here for a second, a quick update here on the Johnson and Truitland County cells. I see nothing. I think the event is over for us today. I think that's it because this has already left Truitland and this in Johnson has just washed out. It technically goes for another 12 minutes, but I don't see anything going on with that. So we'll check in, I guess, in a little bit. Guys, we're going back over to you now. Is that where we're headed?
Ben, I had just a quick question if you have a minute.
I do. I do.
Got a few minutes. So after this whole weather event finishes up, what is the process as far as, what is a tornado? What was, just, some really bad winds? How is all of that sifted through and separated so we know exactly what happened today?
Well, the National Weather Service out of Peachtree City, they have a survey team, and they will go out and scour around to all these places. Now, normally you would see this maybe the day after, but we have another severe threat possible tomorrow.
Right.
So I don't think we're going to see any of this even addressed until Thursday at the earliest, and then depending on what happens tomorrow, hopefully not much, but there's so many little areas that have touched down here and there, and there are only so many of them. So it may take days, sometimes it can be a week of compiling all this, and then they'll put out what they call public information statements, and they'll put out the track of all this. So it could be next week before we know it all, because of tomorrow still being somewhat active. But there's a formula to the whole thing about how to figure out what's a tornado, what's straight line wind.
Yeah.
And even within that tornado damage, they can determine the wind strength based on, you know, just the kind of damage that was done, what was thrown into what kind of building, those kind of things. They have a way of figuring that out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And they just use all this information that the EMA directors are gathering in their respective counties.
Right, and that's
their
why it's
respective
so
areas.
important for people to call Matt's number, call Chris, you know, the number that he gave out for Macon Bibb County. Because if you don't report it, they don't know about it, and then it doesn't go in the data books. And they use all that stuff for, I mean, there's research that's done later and all these kind of things to always be honing and perfecting the craft of meteorology, really, trying to figure out, you know, what verified out the way the radar was showing. Where did it really happen the way it looked like it happened? And so that's why that stuff's so important.
Fascinating.
Thanks very much, Ben. We certainly appreciate it. Kalisha Moore, we talked with her a few minutes ago. She was in North Macon right now. We're going to rejoin her right now with an update on what she is seeing and some folks she's been talking to.
Yeah, Frank, that's right. I'm still here just about half a mile down from Thornwood Drive, where Macon Bibb authorities are telling me there is a lot of damage. With me, I have with the Macon Bibb Fire Department, Mr. Sean Hart. Can you just talk to me a little bit about what's been happening down here, what the crews have been working on?
Well, at this moment now, we're just going through assessing damage, making sure no occupants in homes, just making sure, getting a good overview for Georgia Power and all the other authorities, making sure, letting them know where areas of danger we have, and so they can go in and assess the damage and kind of get this thing rectified.
Now, how many houses would you say are currently taking that damage, and how are the power lines looking down there?
I can't give an exact number, but we have a lot of homes that did sustain some damage, and like we're still assessing now, and throughout the process there'll probably be more.
Now, unfortunately, this has delayed people picking up their children from Rosa Taylor Elementary, which is just a couple of miles from here. What would you say to people who are driving in this area as far as caution?
If you got an alternate route that you can use, and just use a little patience, give us time, and we will get it taken care of as soon as possible.
Thank you so much, Chief. We appreciate that. Now, Frank and Lori, I will still be out here just bringing you guys the updates. And as I told you a little earlier in the 5, there was a house that was hit by a tree, and the tree in their yard has been uprooted. You can visibly see the power lines. They have kind of taken a path, so to speak. People have been coming in and out. We can see the fire trucks. We can see all types of things. But the most important thing here is to just make sure you are driving safe, as they continue to tell me they are not sure whether or not these power lines are still active. Guys, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Kalisha, thank you very much. And again, as the chief said, patience is the word. If you have to be out and you're trying to drive around, do exercise patience, because there's a lot of damage they're trying to work through.
That's right. Great advice. Let's go ahead and head to Ashlyn Webb. Last time we touched base with her, she was in North Macon. Ashlyn, where are you now?
Lori, I'm actually in that same area of town. Earlier, we were by Lee Road. We were driving through, and we saw a house with a tree that crashed into it. We just drove a minute down, and we found another house with a tree crash into it. Right now, I'm joined by the homeowner. Could you tell me a little bit about what you heard earlier? It was an hour ago, right?
It was just about an hour ago, yeah. My daughter and I had heard the sirens going off, and we were watching you guys to hear what was going on. So we had moved to the basement, and we're in the basement, and all of a sudden we just started hearing the wind picking up really a lot, and we heard debris beginning to hit, and then all of a sudden the house was shaking, and and then it was over, and we walked upstairs, and lo and behold, we've got a big old tree in our yard, and it's not Christmas. In our house.
You've lived here for 30 years. Seeing this right now, how do you feel?
Well, it's terrible, but what can you do? It's happened. We're just going to go on. We've been lucky. It's never happened before, I guess. So, we've contacted the insurance people. We've got great neighbors who have called people to come and help us get tarps on the roof and things like that, because I'm handicapped. I can't really get up there and do it. And, I'm glad we have good neighbors. I'm glad nobody's hurt. upset that my house is a mess right now. But
And you and your daughter, Michael, uninjured during all of this?
we're uninjured. Dogs are uninjured. Everybody's fine. The only thing hurt is Michael's bedroom and one of my other daughters, Ryan's bedroom. And my wife and I just had people out here the other day to tell us what the cost of a new roof would be. So now we know we need it.
I'm glad to hear that you guys are safe. I'm sad to see this happen to your house, but we'll keep you in our thoughts and prayers.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Lori, back to you.
Thanks so much, Ashlyn. We appreciate that update. And yeah, it's just kind of heartbreaking seeing these homes with the trees toppled. But the big thing is that folks, so far what we've heard, no one has been hurt. So hopefully that will remain true. Ben, I'm sorry.
He went to the safe area though, because
Right.
he heard the warnings, Ben. And again,
he was watching you.
These were not long-form tornadoes, Ben. These were ones that, as you said, and you and Taylor were talking about, just touched down quickly and then popped back up again.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were still strong tornadoes, which is the thing about them, but they just bam, and then right back up again. And again, when we talk about this kind of environment, what we call QLCS, it's kind of nerdy, quasi-linear convective system. But when you see that, it's mainly straight line winds, which tomorrow's setup looks a little bit different, not like this. But then within there, you can see some rotation from time to time. But the problem is they don't stay down. I don't say the problem, that's a good thing. The problem with trying to find them is that they're there for a little bit and then the next scan it's gone. And then you're left with a tornado warning with a cell that's maybe broadly rotating, but it's not sending that one tornado to the ground. Now, we've had multiple spots today. We talked about Macon. I know that coming right here, Yonkers, Chester area, right, was heading on into Lawrence County, debris signatures there. We saw it Twiggs, Wilkinson County, where even briefly, even if it was only for a couple of minutes, it was enough to pick some stuff up. Maybe it's just, tree limbs, little limbs and stuff like that, but enough that the radar is picking it up in the atmosphere and could see that it was carrying some of that stuff around. So Taylor, I guess what I'm saying is it could have been worse had these been some that would have run for a while.
Oh, absolutely, especially because we were in that little area for what we call the hatch risk, which means that we have the potential to see more stronger and long-lived tornadoes. So thankfully we didn't have those long-lived tornadoes, but we definitely did see some stronger ones, just like Ben said. They're in that Twiggs and Jefferson County areas, and then they're in that little area for Dodge and Bleckley and Lawrence counties. Now, the threat right now seems more like a damaging wind threat. If anything, most of the heavier stuff is definitely moving towards the Savannah area, so that's not for us. But I do want to pay your attention to tomorrow, where we do have another round of severe storms. We are now again in a level 3 out of 5, which is a moderate risk or in terms of the scale of moderate risk, but in terms of the actual name, an enhanced risk, a moderate risk would be a level 4. But it is a level 3 out of 5 chance for severe storms. Damaging winds are the biggest possibility, especially with large hail. Now today, didn't see as much hail with these storms. We had some penny-sized hail and half-dollar-sized hail. Tornadoes can't be ruled out tomorrow, but the setup is very different. So I'm going to take you through that timeline a little bit. Here is about 2 p.m. tomorrow. As you can see, it's kind of taking the heat of the day, not very organized like this one was. Like Ben said, a linear system. This is more of like a pop-up storm, more of like a summertime setup, if that makes sense. So you're getting that really high dew points, or big moisture. You're getting the heat of the day and the energy going with that. So what we really would see would be more large hail and damaging winds with this one. A tornado, again, still is possible if it picks up on that wind shear. Again, wind shear is just that turning with winds with height. But right now looking more of like a bubbling up effect than anything else. And that's really going to take hold, especially as we head towards the 2 to 4 p.m. hours where we have the heat of the day really coming in. Temperatures tomorrow could be somewhere possibly in the mid-70s, upwards of the 80s. Once again, we seem to kind of calm down, thankfully, right as you head home from work, but we start to bubble up again, especially for places that are south of Macon between 6 and 8 p.m. tomorrow. And the threat should be over by the time we head towards Thursday morning. Could still see a stray shower, but that really plays into the whole fact of what I keep talking about are the chances for some, what I will say, of flash flooding, because from now until about Thursday morning, we're talking about another 2 to 3 inches of rain across the area, especially for places that are south and east of Macon, and the places that honestly don't need it. I'll take you to, real quick, the rainfall graphic that I kind of showed a little bit earlier, but places that were north and east of Macon, already seeing 4 to 6 inches of rain just from today. So definitely a possibility, not only for large hail and damaging winds, but flash flooding.
All important stuff there, Taylor. You think about it when all this is going on, all that rain's piling up, and we still have more. Taylor touched on it. This level 3 we have today, they trim it back, and there's kind of a delay to it because obviously the storms are here now. But they want to make sure everything is really clear before they, eat away at this. So that means that day 1 of a 2-day event is pretty much over for us now, other than some light rain. Now, as you look at tomorrow with this, let's see if I can get that to go forward. Again, this was mainly a 3 for the Atlanta area, but they stretched us down into it. Now, what's different is today, Taylor talked about that hatched area. When they say hatched, it means that they'll have these things drawn on here, and there's a ding. What is that?
Severe thunderstorm warning for Wheeler and Telfair and Montgomery.
Severe thunderstorm warning, Telfair, Wheeler. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We figured that as it kicks its heels up on the way out. So back to what I was saying is no tornado warning with that. So that's good. We had a drawing in here that went over into Alabama from the National Weather Service, and they put little hatch marks in there. You don't see that very often. And when you see that, that means that even a little bit more elevated risk of some stronger tornadoes. We had that for today, and that's where we have seen that happen in that area where they hatched it out. Now look at day 2 tomorrow, if there's any comfort in this for you. I do not see a hatched area for us tomorrow, and the risk of tornadoes is smaller tomorrow, more like a 5%, something like that, as opposed to what we were seeing today, which was 10, which in the world of a tornado threat is pretty big. So I think maybe the tornado threat was larger today. Tomorrow, as Taylor was saying, still maybe some gusty winds, maybe some hail, stuff like that. Can't rule out a spin up in there, but it's just not the same kind of setup as what we saw today. Having said that, of course, we're going to watch it like a hawk as we go through the day tomorrow. All right, what are we doing? We're resetting. It's 5:30. Are we taking back off? You guys over here. News folks.
So, as we continue to work our way through it, thanks for continuing to watch our continuing coverage here. We have crews out and about. I believe Anthony Montalto has made his way to Taylor County right now, which was one of the first areas that really saw this line of storms rolling through there. And let's check in with Anthony now to see what he's been seeing out in the Taylor County area.
Hey guys, so actually we are in Macon County. We're along State Route 49 just outside of Whitewater Creek Park, and Emergency Management Director Roy Yoder tells us campers were evacuated from their tents and they took shelter in the park's bathrooms, which he says are pretty sturdy. And actually, if we take a look over here, you can see some downed trees, some downed power lines. It's pretty bad in here. These trees are really splintered. Yoder tells us that we're also seeing damage across the county, including a chicken farmhouse roof, which was torn off over in Oglethorpe. And, we'll continue to keep you updated as this weather rolls through. But, for now, live in Macon County, Anthony Montalto, 13 WMAZ News.
Is he in?
He is in Macon County. That's
County,
actually, he said he's in Macon County, and he was just talking about, the folks who had to shelter in the bathroom were at a campsite. So that's certainly a scary situation.
Now, Ben, you were taking a look at some of the video, some of the tree down behind Anthony, and you were saying that looked like definitely signs of a tornado?
Yeah, usually when we see that, I mean, we're definitely not on the survey team for the National Weather Service, but over the years I've seen it enough that when you see, the little stubs of especially pine trees like that, where there's just missing halfway up or whatever. It's been twisted and sheared off like that. As opposed to straight line winds, it's generally just going to be all laying over. And then not only that, if you were to fly over it, look with a drone, something like that, you usually see tree parts laying in a circular fashion where it's been twisted off and laid in that direction. If you're ever curious and you look and you had damage in your yard and everything, and the root balls and everything were all laying straight over like that, that's usually straight line winds with like severe thunderstorms like that. It's that twist where you can tell that doesn't look natural, that something grabbed that tree and just twisted it off halfway up. So that's what I kind of saw in the background of his shot there.
All right, good to know. Thanks very much, Ben. We appreciate that. Power outages, obviously widespread across central Georgia. We continue to keep track of some of the numbers right here.
So, not quite sure. Let's see. So, of course, when we were talking about the power outages a little while ago, we were seeing widespread places in Bibb County, correct? So, there's some places in Bibb County.
Yeah, North Macon, obviously, some of those areas. We've been seeing a lot of the homes, a lot of power lines down in that particular area. I think Anthony in Macon County a minute ago said they've seen power lines down, and then Ben and Taylor it seems pretty certain that in that area of Dodge County where you saw the big debris formation, it seems like there's going to be some power outages in that area too.
Yeah, and we heard from, Bleckley County there, over here. Well, maybe you can hear me, maybe you can't. I don't think you can, guys.
All right, we're going to go now to Molly Jett. She is in Houston County right now. We talked with her earlier a little bit. She talked with a neighbor who had seen some damage and some strong storms. Let's rejoin Molly now.
We've been here for about an hour. Statham Landing and Warner Robins just near the base. And I wanted to show you another place. This is up by the front entrance. This area with broken down tree branches and sticks all through on the side. There's already been first responders that have been here that have already removed this off of the road so that cars can continue to pass by just like this, getting home from work. But I also wanted to just show you where it has damaged and fallen over this fence. Now, the neighbors were looking at this. They have since left, but just look at how strong the winds must have been, because look at how deep and how much the root has been pulled up. That's a pretty thick root from my opinion, and it has toppled over and onto this hill over here. But this is just one area. Throughout the rest of this neighborhood, there is damage from the winds. If you look in their front yard, you can tell where some emergency responders were busy at work maybe nearly 30 minutes ago, and you can see the mud in the front yard. Up a little ways up here, you have the district attorney, Will Kendall, directing traffic with other first responders. There's several firefighters, several police out here, but all of them seem okay right now. It doesn't seem like anyone is hurt. I have not heard that from an official EMA director, but the people that I've spoke to, including the neighbor just a little while ago, said that they were okay. But again, I just wanted to show you this damage from here goes a little bit further back behind me. These tree branches down this way, all the way down to the far side of this fence. And we are at the beginning, the front of the Statham Landing neighborhood out in Warner Robins. But the rest of the neighborhood has some downed tree branches in the road. There's some debris, but overall it does not look like anyone was hurt, or the houses were not hurt either. But we are in Warner Robins. I know that there is some strong winds in other parts of Houston County. Otherwise, we are near the base. Some of the neighbors said they heard some loud sirens not more than 45 minutes ago. So I'm sure it was a little scary. Some of the neighbors that I spoke to said it got really windy, really loud. They worried about their front glass in their front living room and the kitchens. But overall, the glass did not break with the woman that I spoke to earlier today. It's starting to drizzle a little bit more now. It was not raining about 10 minutes ago, so it's off and on. But as you can see, another first responder coming by. And as those people come by, it looks like traffic is starting to flow a little bit more regularly, but we will probably have more updates coming to you soon. And live in Warner Robins, Molly Jett, back to you, Frank and Lori.
Thank you so much, Molly, showing us the widespread damage there in Houston County. We do want to update you on the power outages around our area. Flint Energy's reports 22 power outages impacting more than 3,800 people in their service area. Now, if you check out this map, you can see the most impacted is north of Butler and Reynolds in Taylor County. There's also a lot of outages around Montezuma, both north and west in Macon County.
Georgia Power reporting about 6,200 customers impacted in the Macon area. That number is probably going to go higher. And most of that in the North Macon area, where we've been getting live reports: Riverside Drive, Wimbish Road, Forest Hill Road. Also saw some pictures earlier, Rivoli Drive area, a lot of power outages, a lot of power lines down in that area. That seems to be the hardest hit right now.
Certainly appreciate you sending in your pictures. Make sure you're taking them safely. This is Morgan Ranch, sitting in this picture. And does that look like, what does that look like on the roof there? Maybe a tree branch through the roof? So yeah, so we have that. And then this is Noah Cook. This is Thornwood Drive in Macon. You can see the debris on the ground. You can see the trees leaning, just indicative of what we've seen all day.
Old Hawkinsville Road in Bon Air. Here, this is 441 in Milledgeville. Megan Rogers sending this picture. Looks like maybe a tree down there. These are pictures from Tyler Wilson right here, sending in some storm damage. Northminster Presbyterian Church, that's in the Wimbish Road area of North Macon right there.
Yeah, well, and I think that's actually a power line that looked like it was leaning. So Dodge County, another place we're keeping an eye on. And Ben, now that's not a shelf cloud. What is that?
That could be scud clouds. I mean,
Scud
sometimes
clouds,
you'll see
okay.
those coming across, and they can, depending on the angle, you see them in the horizon, can look like a wedge, like you
Yeah.
think it's a funnel cloud.
It does look a little bit like a funnel cloud, so that's why I was wondering.
And it could be, depending on where he was in Dodge County. Yes, Jess. They're trying to tell. I got you. That picture before that, though, Northminster, I believe that was the steeple laying
Okay.
across. I don't know if they can back that up to go 2 pictures, but that the one before Joe in Dodge County there, it looked like the steeple laying across on the roof, the church there. And again, hats off to, as we were talking about earlier this afternoon, to the Bibb County school system for keeping these kids in place. I'm sure there were probably other schools that did it. That's the only one I know about. And Taylor and I were talking about getting up on that 3 o'clock hour. It's like, oh, this is a time where there's a lot of changing hands going on, carpools and good learning experience with this, because we don't always have them coming through this time. Recently, it's been overnight or early morning stuff. But to keep those kids in place when you've got trees and power lines down like around Rosa Taylor School, that's a great move. These kids practice this stuff in the hallways. You remember, head up against the wall in the hall and all that. So they're much safer there than getting out in the cars and buses and trying to change, and then getting on the roads after that. So that is a good idea, I think, going forward, to leave everybody in place, even if it's a little bit of a longer school day. As far as the weather is concerned now, Swainsboro area, this is out of our area. This is all heading toward the east. The last few tornado warning type stuff and the last bits of severe thunderstorm warning. So the severe threat for us today is over. It is just, you're still hearing some rumbles of thunder, Telfair, Wheeler to Trutland, into Johnson, Washington counties there as well. But all this is just light rain coming across. Now, as I mentioned, in the look for, first of all, to look at tonight right here, you can see how everything's been trimmed back. Really, you could trim all this away now, it's done. But tomorrow, we are in that level 3 again. But again, before you say, oh man, it's going to be the same thing all over again. It's a different setup for tomorrow. As I mentioned earlier, if you're just joining us, we had a hatched area. By that, I don't mean eggs. I mean like a drawn-in oval with hatch marks in there. And the Storm Prediction Center will put that in sometimes when there's a little bit of a more increased chance of a tornado. And we had that in here from kind of Macon southward today. It included all down into South Georgia where they had a lot of tornado warnings and back into the Alabama area. And that happened in that way. Looking at tomorrow, if you break this down and look at the individual threats, the tornado threat for tomorrow is down. And we're not in a hatched area for tomorrow. So let's at least take some solace in that we're thinking, okay, well, at least that's not the big thing. It's probably going to be gusty winds and a hail threat more tomorrow, and maybe some pockets of heavy rain on top of what we already had. So at least there's some good news out of that. We'll have the 7-day coming up in just a little bit. But again, the severe